was right in COVID. I just looked at my wife and I was like, do you like me? And she said, no. And she was like, do you like me? And I was like, no. And then I looked at her, I said, what are we supposed to do with that? And she was like, well, you're supposed to be the leader, so why don't you make it? And I was like, oh, so now you want me to listen. So now argument started. We got two options. Either we can get a divorce or we can relearn each other, because nobody taught us in premarital that we will grow and evolve as people. The person I married is not the same person that's sitting here with me right now.
Welcome to Dear Future Wifey Podcast. My homies, Cornelius and Heather Lindsey is in the building. So let's back up. How did y'all meet?
Right when we sat down on our first date, he looked at me. He said, when we get married, will you move to Atlanta? Because I'm not trying to live in New York.
Yeah.
So it was 3 days later from the first time y'all talked.
Yeah.
And you said, when we get married, and that didn't scare you?
It scared me a little bit because I was like, okay, he's intense. And then right afterward, he went on Facebook and put in a relationship with Heather. He did. And that made me really nervous.
We don't have a lot of Christians today. We have a lot of moralists. They say, I'm not saved anymore.
Well, what made them think that?
I smoke cigars.
At a point in y'all's life, y'all were moralists.
We both accepted responsibility for our part. I was a huge moralist. I published 16 books. I look back at many of them and I'm just like, it lacked humanity. It took me to confront my own humanity to realize that I lacked in seeing it in other people. I just found out a little over 2 years ago that the man who raised me wasn't my father. As an adult and as a father, I don't blame my mom and I don't blame my dads.
Give understanding. Why do you say that?
When I was in Mississippi, I actually started a blog. They started to go viral.
Yep.
And then I started the journey of the birth of Pinky Promise and this women's organization that grew to like 100,000 women in months. My whole idea was to help women to see that they're enough.
I was in the gym working out the other day and this hit me like a ton of bricks. Nobody will ever hate me as much as I've hated myself. And if I can overcome my own self-hatred, this spirit in the dirt suit will never be able to say anything to me.
That's all you got.
Why do y'all still do ministry? The Dear Future Wifey Podcast has global impact. From Texas,
I have been on this journey of healing and self-discovery, and this podcast has been a vital part of my process.
Guyana,
God's establishing through you a legacy, a display of freedom found in authentic spirituality.
California,
I've learned so much as a single man through your podcast and continue to learn so much as now a married man.
Nigeria,
This is just therapy for me. I've been healed. I've been strengthened in my convictions. I've understood how to do singlehood better.
Amsterdam,
Way that you've shown us how it is possible for a man to be as intentional as you are.
New Jersey,
I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate just being able to see that there is life after divorce.
to New York,
I am a single woman, so these episodes really give me hope and courage that God does have a husband for me.
Discover, uncover, and recover love. I'm Laterras R. Whitfield, and this is season 10 of the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. I'm your host, Laterras R. Whitfield. Listen, are you still shacking up with us? If you're still shacking up with us, can we get a commitment? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified about upcoming episodes. And make sure you click the link in the description and sign up for our mailing list. Listen, we're in season 10. I thank God so much. Y'all been rocking with me for 5 years. And I have certain guests that have been sitting on my wish list since the inception of the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. And God has shown favor on me and allowed this guest to bless the yellow couch. So without further ado, welcome to Dear Future Wifey Podcast. My homies, Cornelius and Heather Lindsey is in the building.
Did you say shacking up with me? You trying to make a commitment?
People be watching my content and then they don't want to subscribe. They be like,
that part.
Yeah, it'd be like 70%, like 64% that be watching it, but just won't hit that subscription button. And it's free.
To commit.
Yeah, I need you to commit. They be shacking up,
That's hilarious.
So I'm trying to teach people how to commit to
make a commitment.
Things. Make a commitment. Mm-hmm. Listen, how y'all doing today?
Fornicating with the podcast.
We're doing great.
Fornicating with podcast.
We're doing great. Hailing from LA. And so, we're so thankful to be here. Thank you for inviting us and including us in on season 10.
Listen, when I had y'all, I did a pre-interview. I didn't know what to expect from y'all. I did not. And y'all pleasantly surprised me. I said, I'm going to name this episode, I Don't Like You.
Oh.
I Don't Like You, because when y'all shared with me what happened during y'all 10-year anniversary dinner, it was so real. It was relevant, and it was very transparent that y'all came to a point in y'all's marriage where y'all had to just level set expectation and rebuild from the ground up. But we'll get there. I want to ask y'all, how have y'all been navigating social media and stuff that, you know, y'all hear a lot of stuff. We were talking about this before we push record, and about how you may post something, they automatically start attacking Cornelius.
My baby.
What was something you posted that they automatically started attacking him about? They said, send it to your husband. What?
Right. So I made a post. So in the morning, I sometimes post whatever I'm studying that morning for my prayer time. And I put, refuse to let this world corrupt you. And then a girl responded and was like, you need to send that to your husband. And I was like, block. First of all, what you not going to do is talk about the priest of my household.
I love it.
Why
he doesn't care. He doesn't care. But I mean, I don't care. But I'm just like, you're not going to.
You do it on purpose.
It's disrespectful, I feel like.
I do it on purpose. Because I want, there's a need to show humanity.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, you know, we don't have a lot of Christians today. We have a lot of moralists. And then we have a lot of churchgoers. So, and a churchgoer and a Christian are the same thing.
Teach.
And everybody is trying to put on this show of perfection that's just not real. Yeah. It's not real. So, and I get it. I understand it. I have made peace with my soul in knowing that my authenticity, it bothers the Pharisees. They don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't mind being the tax collector that you hate. I don't mind being the one that's willing to let Jesus come sit at my house while the Pharisees sit outside and talk about me. I love the black sheep. I love the outcast. I love the person that all the churchgoers hate to see. And I don't mind ruffling their feathers because they get so mad. But here's the crazy thing. They get mad about it, but they can't help but coming to watch it, right? They can't help it. That's why I don't block them. I don't block them because I know they come back. I do a Q&A on my IG every Monday. And last Monday I had people who said, I unfollowed you, but I had to come back. And I tell people, I'm like Thanos. You can't get rid of me. Like, I'm inevitable. Because here's the thing. You'll leave, and then you'll quickly realize that your phoniness is just too much.
Yes,
like it's like you can't deal with it, so you come back to authenticity, and that's just it. And they hate their lives, and they hate themselves.
So what are they saying about you? What help me?
Oh, they've told me everything. They said I'm not saved anymore. I'm going to hell.
Well, what made them think that?
I smoke cigars.
Okay.
They don't like I smoke cigars. They don't like.
And you smoke it online?
I'll post me smoking a cigar.
Okay.
I'll post me smoking a cigar. But here's the crazy thing. They don't like that I smoke cigars, but they're overweight.
So nobody asked you to go there now. We're gonna stay on your cigars.
But why don't we? Why don't we do that? Because in the church we focus on healing. We don't focus on health. We don't focus on preventative. Tell me the first health conference you've heard of. But we focus on the healing conference. Heal me of my diabetes, baby. Put the chicken down. You eat fried chicken every night. See, we don't talk about those things. We talk about fornication, adultery, homosexuality, all that kind of stuff. We don't want to deal with gluttony. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, well, you smoke cigars, you eat sugar. Like, come on, we both addicted.
So he does stuff like that, and then they say, leave him alone.
And I'll say stuff like this, and they get upset.
You know, I've gotten used to it for a while. I feel like a lot of moralists follow us because I feel like we were moralists in many ways. But at the same time, I feel like that's who he is. And as a wife, I hope that women see you can't change your man. So stop trying to change him. For you to come on my page and tell me I need to go change him. All right, why don't you go work on changing your man? Matter of fact, go change yourself.
They don't have one.
The thing is, Cornelius. The only thing is, I would never fix my mouth to go on somebody else's page and tell them what their husband needs to do or be.
Exactly, it's so disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. One, but two, it's just like work on your own life, work out your own salvation. If you think my husband's so bad, pray for him.
And let me tell you this.
No, please don't pray for me,
baby.
Don't pray for. I don't know who they pray to. Don't pray for me.
Well, listen, please don't pray for me. And they're encouraging you to divorce him. Like that's crazy. Like. How are you a Christian saying you need to leave your husband?
Crazy work.
It don't even make sense. But I'm glad y'all got to a place to where y'all, and you hit a key point. You said that at a point in y'all's life, y'all were moralists.
Oh, absolutely.
And so y'all curated this audience of moralists that now are attacking y'all. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
It is par for the course.
Yeah.
It's par for the course. We both accepted responsibility for our part. I was a huge moralist. I was all about. I look back. I published 16 books.
16 books.
16
Congratulations.
books. And I look back at many of them, and I'm just like, you know, like some of the stuff that we put in, it was all about rules. Do this, do that, do this, do that. And while the rules are fine, and we can talk about more of this later, while the rules are fine, it lacked humanity. And it took me to confront my own humanity, to realize that I lacked in seeing it in other people. I don't want to be that person.
That's good, Cornelius. That's good. That's good.
How about you, baby?
I feel like we didn't know any better. I mean, you have to think about the generation before us of the pastors and the preachers that came before us, all the prosperity teachers, all the things. They were all about rules and laws and things that you needed to do. Yeah. So then when we came into the ministry scene, we literally only taught what we knew. And I feel like in some ways we didn't know any better, although we would tell people, hey, this is not law, this is not rule. Yeah. But at the same time, I do feel like a lot of our preaching lacked, there's a human side.
Absolutely.
It's funny, there's actually this post that popped up on my Facebook, and it said, tell your feelings to shut up. So I had this mindset back then where I was super hard, where I'm like, tell your feelings to shut up, deal with it, you know, but now the older version of who I am, the more mature version, and hindsight's always 20/20, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm like, you know what? You need to sit there and unpack them feelings and see where they came from. Yeah. Like, stop running from those feelings. Stop telling them to shut up. Stop pushing them under the rug, because they're going to come out in your marriage, your job, your relationships, all the things. Mm-hmm. So back then, it's just like, deal with it. It's almost like be a robot.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it's not the reality. The reality, you are human. You have feelings. You have emotions. And I feel like I was so hard in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let's back up. How did y'all meet?
My story is...
Look at him. Why you act like that, Cornelius? Why you act like that?
Because it's you know...
two different stories. The right story and the wrong story.
That's crazy. That's crazy work.
All right, we're going to get both of them. We're going to find the truth in the middle. Listen.
Go ahead, pretty girl. Let's go.
Okay.
What you got?
So my husband and I attended the same church, except I lived in New York City and he lived in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And so he was the right hand to the mega pastor at the time. Creflo Dollar. And he would fly up to New York every week.
Oh.
So I would see him every week. Honestly, I didn't think anything about it. I just didn't. It's funny. I walked into a room where he was getting a haircut, and I was a leader at the time. So I was in like the back area, and I saw he was getting a haircut, and I was walking with my because I was in the dance ministry, and I walked out and I rolled my eyes and I was like, I bet you the guy cutting his hair, who's one of my friends, he's probably going to ask about me and try to get my number. And I'm going to tell him no, because I'm so sick of these church dudes trying to pull up on me and ain't got no fruit in their life. So I was just like going over my head about how I was going to shut this man down.
You already had the rejection plan.
The rejection was planned. And he never asked about me.
Didn't even ask.
He didn't even ask.
Did you even see her?
I saw her, but
it was a dark room. Watch it.
I saw, but I made a joke.
He made a joke. I
made a joke about what's going on in the room, and to the barber, and we laughed about it for a minute. But then, but I
was behind the joke.
Yeah.
So he was making a joke with the person I was with, and I was behind the joke. So long story short, I saw him and we walked by each other for 2 or 3 years.
And how old were you during that time? When you first met him, how old were you, Cornelius, and how old were you, Heather?
I was 22, 21.
Oh, you were young.
So
21, 22.
He was like 20 when we started walking by each other. I was 24.
Okay.
We didn't connect until he was 22 and then I was 26. So I'm 4 years older than him. He wasn't on my radar. I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm going to talk to this guy. He was super serious. He was with the pastor. He was like very serious in his suit. Didn't talk to anybody. Very intense.
He was
intense, friend.
Can we talk about the intensity? It wasn't so much intensity. It was the fact that I didn't like nobody. I didn't like none of them.
You like people, period?
No, it's not like people. It's just that everything, even back then, it was so fake. And in that world, I was with Creflo, and everybody who got around him was just like, hey, sir, how you doing? You're so great. Yeah, you're so great. And that just wasn't me. I was a dude looking at him and be like, yo, that's too ugly. And he'd be like, we had that. We had a very authentic, real relationship. And everybody was just so fake. So when I got there to church, it was just like, ugh, I was disgusted. I just didn't want to be the vision keepers. I'm just like, I don't want to be like
you said the vision keepers?
Yeah, man. He called them the vision keepers.
They're like pastors' armor bearers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, armor bearers.
And what were you? Were you a vision keeper?
No, I wasn't a vision keeper. I was his assistant. I got paid.
He was over the vision keepers.
I wasn't over him. Creflo, he was over the vision keepers. But I was like, if he had an assignment they needed to do, I would be the one to go and tell, like, hey, guys, you need the blah, 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 blah. Or the leader of the church would. But it was just,
So you just walking around, just sitting there, just stone face?
Stone face.
Completely stone face.
Why I got to be here?
Right. And meanwhile, I'm in 5.
So they knew not to put you as a greeter because you'd have ran everybody off.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I won't talk to nobody.
My husband's been consistent over the years.
I don't talk to nobody. I don't talk to nobody. Don't have me to greet nobody. Don't have me to greet nobody. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So for all them years, for 3 years straight, he just was walking around, not even did he even speak to you?
Well, yeah, he would say hello. I remember walking by each other.
I don't remember that.
He doesn't remember it, but we walked by each other. He just said hello. But when I say he was like this, he was like this. So I always thought he's like the super serious guy with pastor, from the Atlanta church. And mind you, I was dating people here and there. So I wasn't thinking about that. And it was time for our church fast. We were actually friends on Facebook. I don't remember how we became friends, but we were friends on Facebook. Number 12, I don't chase nobody. I don't go after nobody. Never did, never will. Okay. So anyways, we're somehow friends on Facebook. Me and my girlfriend are starting the church fast. And mind you, this is the new church in New York.
Okay.
This was our very first fast and we didn't know what we were doing. And so we went to the grocery store, tried to figure out what we could eat, what we couldn't eat, because it was a Daniel fast. And so I was like, well, let's go message the Atlanta church to see if they know, because there's like a group there on Facebook. So I go on there was nothing posted. I was like, crap, we need to message somebody from the church. And it's funny, my girlfriend almost did it, but we just went to my house and do it. So I saw that he was online. I was like, oh, Cornelius from the church, the pastor's assistant is on. Let me just ask him. I was like, hey, this is Heather from the New York church. I just need some ideas for the church fast. And can we eat this? Can we eat that? And he was like, no.
It's a Daniel fast.
It's a Daniel fast. He's like, no, we can't eat this. We can't eat that. So I was like, okay, great. So I go to close my laptop and I hear a ping. So I opened it back up.
Look at him smiling.
I opened it back up and he was like, I'm going to put a cow in the ground or pig in the ground and grow it.
Cow, pig, and chicken.
Yeah. So he started talking. So I was like, oh, he's cutting up. I was like, he's funny. Right. And so I was like, okay, you're crazy. And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is random. And my girlfriend I was hanging out with my friend and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this quick. And I was like, just came back from the grocery store. He's like, who helps you carry your groceries? And I was like, I carry my own because I'm an independent woman. Okay.
He said, who helps you carry your groceries?
Right.
He didn't know if she had a man or not.
Yeah, that's some game right there.
So we ended up talking for like 3 or 4 hours. And then after that,
you talking about just chatting or y'all got
it was a Facebook chat?
Yeah. And then we spoke the next day and then
she's leaving out some stuff, bro.
It's all good. So your perspective. So then 3 days later,
I'm gonna tag you. Hold on, don't jump to 3 years. I'm tagging you in. Where's she leaving out in the exchange?
Number one, I was shocked that she asked me about the Daniel fast because I didn't know what we were doing either.
Oh my God!
You're not gonna know you right hand to the pastor.
I didn't care.
He didn't care.
I didn't care. And the crazy thing is, Dr. Dollar knew I didn't care.
Yeah, he knew.
I think he kept me around because I was just authentic, but I was just real with him. I didn't know. So when she asked me, I was like, I don't know. I was trying to Google it. Like, what can we have? I didn't know what Daniel was eating. I think this is dumb. To be honest with you, I didn't even do the fast.
Baby.
What?
Oh my God.
I didn't do the fast. I didn't want to hear everybody else. I didn't do the fast. I didn't want everybody else to be like, oh, Pastor Sister not doing the fast. But I just didn't, I just didn't eat what I ate around everybody else. I didn't know what day you ate.
The fast.
I didn't do no fast. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So thank you for having confidence in me that I knew. But then, like, once you pinged me, I was like, oh, step. I checked her. I looked at her profile, and I thought she was a model. Cause like she had these pictures of her, had her foot all on the wall, like, and I was like, oh dang, like she's fine, right? So I was like, okay, well, we like good talking. And then we're going on for 3 or 4 hours, and I was like, yo, it's getting late. It's getting late here. I got work in the morning. I know you have work. I don't want to be disrespectful towards you. I want to leave you with my number. And if you feel comfortable enough to give me yours, boom. So I went, I closed my computer down. Went to close it down and get ready for it. Now all I hear is ping. And I was like, oh, damn, you know what? I checked my phone. And sure enough, like, she had messaged me and she sent me like her phone number, her office number, her birthday, like her social security number. Her social security number, like blood type. She was like, look, just call me tomorrow. That whole thing. I was like, all right, bet. And so, we did that. But then, the other
3 days later, you flew.
I flew to New York.
We had our first date at Blossom, a vegan restaurant on the Upper East Side. And it was so good. And it was perfect because we were on the Daniel fast, right? And where I thought you were.
Remember that sweet potato soup?
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
I threw my straw wrap in.
Yeah, he said it was trash.
It was nasty.
But I feel like that was like a prophecy of our future because I went vegan. I've been vegan for 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah, 14 years now.
Wow.
But that was 17 years ago. Our first date.
I'm carnivore. I hate vegetables.
It's 17 years.
That's accurate. But so on our very first date, the date's coming to a close, and ironically, I had asked God 3 years ago that whoever I marry, I want them to wait to kiss me until our wedding day. I asked God for it, and it sounds crazy. I'd never, most people don't talk about that, but it was like a silent prayer. So when I would meet a guy and I'd go on a date and he would try to kiss me, I would know immediately this person's not the one. Like that was my measuring stick. And I didn't even tell anybody. I didn't tell any of the guys.
So as soon as they try to kiss you, you eliminate them.
I eliminate them. I'm like, oh, they're not the one. Like they're just not it.
Christian women, brother.
But listen. Hold on. Wow, Christian women? I am a Christian woman. So, but the thing is, I didn't even tell him. I wasn't even being judgy. I wasn't being judgy.
She didn't tell.
I didn't say a word. I was just like, I'm going to see who this person is and see what his personality is like and see if he can lead me properly. Right when we sat down on our first date, he looked at me. He said, when we get married, will you move to Atlanta? Because I'm not trying to live in New York.
Yeah.
And for me to be 22 years old and to have so much focus and direction, because the guys I was dating in New York were non-committal. You know what I mean? And so the fact that he was like, hey, you're the one, you're it. I want to start this journey with you.
Hold on. That's how you came?
Yeah. That was the first question I asked him when we sat down for dinner.
You said when we get married or if?
When?
No, when.
I said when we get married.
From the rip. He was like, you're the one.
I was pretty convinced. I was really convinced.
So it was 3 days later from the first time y'all talked?
Yeah.
And you said when we get married, and that didn't scare you?
It scared me a little bit because I was like, okay, he's intense. And then right afterward, he went on Facebook and put in a relationship with Heather. He did. And that made me really nervous. It made me nervous because I was like, okay.
You tagged on it? You tagged on it?
I don't remember that.
He tagged me on it and I was like calling my friend, like, should I accept it? You know what I mean? Because I'm nervous. I was like, we're not even I just met this man and he's really serious about being in a relationship. Back then, Facebook was everything.
Yeah.
When you you're in a relationship.
Oh, it's official.
It's official. And so I was nervous because he was so forward and I had never met a man that was that focused and that much vision and that much direction. So I was like, okay, I like it because I'm looking for a leader because I'm strong.
Yep.
And so our date comes to an end and he looks at me and I go to the bathroom and I come out. He looks at me and he says, I was trying to figure out how I was going to end this date. Actually, you can share it.
Yeah. What'd you say, Cornelius?
I was like, I'm trying to find out in this date. Well, she went to the bathroom and the Holy Spirit just spoke to me and said, don't kiss her until. No, he said, how are you going to end the date? And I said, I'm going to just kiss her and walk her wherever. And he was like, well, she doesn't belong to you. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. And he was like, well, honor me by not kissing her until you get married. And I was like, all right, I'm going to tell her and I'm going to see what she's going to say. And she came out the bathroom and I was like, yo, this is what the conversation was. Like, how you feel about that? And she was like, Okay.
And I said, we'll see.
Why you say we'll see? You
I
think
said,
he's
we'll
gonna change
see.
it?
We'll see.
Well, you think he just said that, but when he walk you out, he's gonna
my thing was I would meet guys, Christian guys, that would say one thing and they would do another thing. So I'm gonna let's see if you have any fruit on that tree. Let's see if the fruit's gonna grow. We'll see.
I ain't have much fruit, but I mean, I didn't that.
But let's
still ain't that much.
Baby, you have a lot
of fruit. Oh my God, thank you.
Cornelius, what you saying? You have much fruit back then?
No, I ain't have much back then.
You had enough.
Hey, mine's still germinating, bro. We talk about it. We talk about it.
You had to have some to even hear the Holy Spirit tell you that, and second of all, to be committed to that.
That sounds amazing. That sounds
the
great.
boundaries though we had were stupid.
That sounds
no
great.
cuddling. We got an argument about holding hands.
Who started it?
He started the argument because I'm a physical touch person. That's my love language. So we're holding hands, and he was like, I'm struggling with this. And I'm like, you struggling with holding hands? The heck is wrong with you?
And the reason why, I mean, the relationships that I was in the past, it always led to something else. You feel me?
Of course.
So it was like, dang, how I'm gonna continue to do this? And that was tough. I'm trying to be this leader, and then now I've already put it out there to other people. This is what we're doing. So now I feel the pressure.
Oh, you actually said that we're gonna wait to kiss until.
Yeah, I mean, I had told my pastor. I had told the people around me. Mm-hmm. We had told our friends. And
what did they say about that? They think y'all was doing too much.
They were like, you crazy.
It was. I mean, yeah. Most of the people was like, yeah, y'all, yeah, you you doing way too much. And for me, I felt like I was doing too much.
Really?
Yeah, but I was like, this is what I believe I heard. Mm-hmm. And I don't
that resonated with you and confirmed what you told God.
When he said that, I was like, oh my gosh. So my girlfriends that I had previously told, I called them and they were like, no way. Are you serious? He actually said that? We've never heard a guy say that. I was like, I know. I was like, let's just see if he backs it up. Let's just see. And we ended up getting engaged after a year, and it was a year and
8 months.
8 months later, we got married and kissed for the first time on our wedding day.
And did y'all ever start holding hands, or y'all that was a boundary too?
Yeah, we started holding hands.
We held hands, but the movies was a no-no because he was like, you're trying to cuddle. I was like, what's wrong with you?
You talking about at the movie theater?
Yeah,
we went to the movies. I don't know if we went to a matinee. Remember that? And I love matinees because they're usually half off, and ain't nobody else there but old people. Old white people be there. It'd be great. So it's like it was great. I'm more budget friendly.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend a lot of money. So it was like that was dope. But it was like continuing to put ourselves in that environment. You got to understand, I'm still in this moralist type of behavior modification environment where I feel like I got to keep the rules just right.
Yeah.
I got to be militant with the rules.
Yeah.
I got to be militant with the rules. And if I break the rules, then God's going to be mad at me and everybody else is going to be mad at me. And I'm trying to seek approval from everybody, including God and her. And so there was no humanity there, and there was no freedom in that. It was just like, this is what the rule is. You got to keep the rule.
Yeah.
So some people will hear that and say, but it worked out. That was good that it kept boundaries. It kept y'all honoring God, even though the heart posture was a little misaligned with the intentions behind it, but y'all were literally trying to do what was right. And so would that be, when you look back at that, would you say that was honorable, or do you look at it like it lacked what?
No, I mean, I still think it lacks humanity. I think we should have held hands. I think we should have went to the movies more. I think we should have. Looking back, I wish we would have had deeper conversations about things. I wish we could have just been real. Even the premarital stuff. It was so surface.
It was so much pressure.
It was the church. Pressure. It was surface. It was like, well, y'all need to do this. I never forget. People well, you got to remember, Cornelius, you're close to. And they're gonna be looking at y'all, and it was even. Remember, we would sit on the front row, and they was like,
sitting.
I hated it.
We do not. When we go to churches, we sit in the back, and we sneak in, and people are like, "Come to the front." We're like, "No, we like to be in the back."
Put me in the back, next to the aisle, because I will leave your service early.
Yeah. We just like to be
I will legit.
I just want to be able to worship.
I won't even go
in silence.
I will leave your church early.
So tell me, what was it that the front row represented then?
The front row, like at that point, everybody knew who I was to the pastor.
Right.
So when they saw, this is a representation of what's on the stage.
Yeah, the fruit of it.
The fruit of it, to the point where we got removed from the front row.
We did.
And we got put up in the balcony
after we got married.
Because it was like, now you're becoming a distraction.
Yeah.
And it was like a distraction. Who am I distraction to? Who am I distracting?
Yeah.
And it was, but I would be sitting in church and I would have somebody to pass me a note from somebody's grandmama saying, my granddaughter is single, and it would happen like every, and I would hate sitting out there, but it was really part of my job, because like if his shoe was untied, I need to let him know. We had certain signals, let him know his shoe's untied, or he done spat on his suit, or something. Like, it was part of my responsibility. But then I was like, I got to the point where I wouldn't even listen to the sermon. I would be doodling because I was like, I don't want to hear this crap. I want to go home. So I'd be sitting there like drawing little things on the paper.
Did you just call the sermon crap?
Yep. I did. I was like, man, I do not want to hear this. I do not want to hear this.
That's why they say that to you. They say that online.
Jesus. I was like, why are we talking about friendship?
This is a whole pastor. He talking
I talk about mine too.
He does.
Shoot, I listen to my old stuff. I'd be like, man, if you don't shut up. Like, golly. This sermon should have been on 15 minutes ago, pimp.
So how were y'all distraction though?
We were
y'all doing ministry back then?
No, we were becoming a power couple.
Yeah,
but
they
what were y'all doing
power couple. Nothing.
It was weird.
Existing.
But y'all wasn't doing your own ministry at that point.
But it was God preparing us for ministry. I feel like before you step into the next level of what God wants you to do, you begin to get attacked nonstop by the very people that you want to help.
That part.
And so for us, it was like constant preparation. People talking about us, starting rumors. I always felt like I was in somebody, like my name was in somebody's mouth. I was like, I literally mind my business. I just exist. Try to live and do what is right. Like, nobody. Are y'all serious? But we were constantly attacked, constantly, nonstop. It was tough.
The first years of marriage were riddled with that.
It was that.
Oh my gosh.
It was that. And then it was, and then, so I ended up leaving the church. I left, I resigned. And that was a whole thing. And then,
that was bad.
We were told,
that was bad.
We were told, our friends were told they couldn't associate with us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We were pushed out. I was a warlock. She was a witch. We were trying to tell people.
Weird. Where'd that come from?
We still trying to figure out.
No, I'm talking about what did they say y'all were doing? They have to.
Because we left.
Yeah, because we left.
Because we left the church.
And you're not, back then it's like, you're not supposed to leave the bubble. People out there who hear this, they, you know church culture. It's a gang. It's a fraternity. It's a sorority.
Right.
Once you get coded in, you're in.
But if you leave, but y'all didn't leave God though. Y'all just left that church.
We just left.
Did y'all join another church immediately?
No, we didn't join another church. I mean, I had already a conversation with my pastor at the time. I told him, I was like, I feel like God's leading me for ministry, and he was supportive of it. He was saying he was going to reach out to people in 1,000-mile radius, and he was very supportive of it. But then when I put in the resignation, it was like, oh, this is for real. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And then it was like, once we left, it was like, now it's this big thing. And then I had started doing something called telechurch. So back then it was like, I had an 800 number. I mean, everybody does it now, but I had an 800 number that people would call in on Tuesdays and Sundays. Mm-hmm. And it was just telechurch. It was over the phone. That was it. You can call in, you can listen to the message, and that's it. And that started going. And then people, they didn't like that at the church. They didn't like that was going on, and you can't listen to them.
You had to submit it for approval in order to do it.
And it's like, I'm not submitting nothing. I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
I'm not. And I've never been the type to be like, oh, I'm just going to go play by the rules. I don't like rules. I've never been that type to want to do that. So I wasn't submitting anything.
Which is interesting, because you said I was never the type that like to play by the rules, but in ministry, that's how you started out, playing by, you admit to having a moralist mentality where it was following rules, which was coming against your humanity. And so when you started out in ministry for yourself, quote unquote, when you branched out, you said, I'm not going to submit to authority to get approval from man. You felt like God called you to ministry. You started out doing something that was revolutionary at that time when you're doing an 800 number. Like you said, now they have prayer calls all the time.
Yeah.
They do that, Zoom calls and all that. But back then, if we can take our mind back that far, that was very revolutionary in that time. And then how did it branch and how did it move to you becoming a pastor? How long did that take?
It's about a year and a half, I think, because we had moved to Jackson, Mississippi, and then we stayed there for about a year, a little over a year, and then we ended up moving back to Atlanta. That's when we found out a lot happened there. I mean, we went through a miscarriage in Jackson. It was a really tough season. We were newly married. We were newly married, and our faith was shaken. I mean, we're trying. We have no community, you know. And
so y'all moved to Jackson to do what?
For ministry. I believe that's what we're going to do.
I feel like it was detox from.
So y'all going to take over another church or start working in ministry?
No. My wife and I are so apostolic in the way that I don't even like taking over anything because I like to build it from the ground up. Because I'm like a lion in the sense that if I take over a pride, I got to kill all the kids. Because they're not my blood. You know what I mean? And so that's just how I'm just alpha like that. So we literally went there with just a vision and saying, okay, we're just going to help people. And so that's what we started doing. And then it was like, well, you know what? Jackson ain't the place. We moved back to Atlanta, January 2013. We started our church, March 2013. We had our first kid.
And y'all were married at, how far in y'all marriage did this happen when y'all moved to Jackson?
We got married in August. We moved to
6 months later?
No, we got married in August. We moved to Jackson in December.
Dang.
Of that same year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was no job change. Y'all just moved there.
Yeah, just moved there. But we started at that point. You know, I started doing like Amazon drop shipping. We became entrepreneurs. Okay. At that point, because it was like, you know, I knew I didn't want to go back to a job. I knew I didn't want to be a boss. I knew I didn't want to be a CEO. I knew I didn't want to dress up in suits. Like, y'all can have all that stuff. I don't want to do that. I want passive. I want to be able to go to the gym when I want to. And so I knew that. So we started becoming entrepreneurs way back then. And then we opened up the church in 2013.
And throughout that time, when I was in Mississippi, I actually started a blog. And it became like the #1 Christian women's blog. Yep. And when I say there was like 100 million views, it was crazy. But they started to go viral. Yep. And then I started the journey of the birth of Pinky Promise.
It began to go viral before that was even a word.
That part.
Yeah, it wasn't even called viral back then. Just like, a whole lot of people know who this is.
It's like it went from, you know, moving to Mississippi, being very hurt by our church, to starting the blog, to starting Pinky Promise, and this women's organization that grew to like 100,000 women in months.
So what was the blog initials intent?
It was to teach women about their worth and their value, and that it should be in Jesus Christ and not in no man, not in your job, not in your career, whatever the case is. So my whole idea was to help women to see that they're enough.
Help women see it then. Were you transparent on your blog, letting them know that you just experienced a miscarriage?
Oh my gosh, yes, very much so. I mean, I shared everything back then when it wasn't popular. It wasn't a thing, but I shared.
That's the reason why they loved it. Yeah, because it was authentic.
I felt like in the church, I would sit on the front row and I'm looking around at all these couples next to me. Everybody seemed so happy. And I was struggling in my marriage. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't like this man. Whoa. And I'm married to him. Sorry, baby, I love you. I love you, but I don't like you, right?
It's true. It's true.
But I'm like, they don't fight. And like this one is having a rough day and I'm having a rough day. And it's just, I didn't feel like anybody was real or authentic. Yep. So I said, if nobody else is going to be honest, I am. I'm going to tell y'all what it is. I'm going to tell y'all that marriage is ministry. I'm going to tell y'all that you can do all the right things, not kiss until your wedding day, and still think about divorce. You know what I mean? And still have miscarriages and still have hard times. And it's tough. So
how did y'all navigate the miscarriage?
Whew. I was pissed.
That was
I was
tough.
so mad. I was so mad because the night she was in the hospital, she had just had the DNC done or whatever it was. And I held her hand until she went to sleep. And it was late that night. I never forget going up to that window, like shaking my fist towards God. I was crying because I didn't want to cry around her because I got to be strong. Yeah. You know? I remember crying. I remember being like, I am so pissed off because we did all this stuff like honoring you, and you won't even give us a child.
Yeah.
You know, and you got crackheads out here having babies, putting them in trash cans.
Yep.
Like you got these women out here who they got 8, 9, 10 kids, giving them up, and you trying to tell me that we can't have a kid? Like, bro, all this is for what? For what? You know, I was so mad. But you know, it rocked my faith. I think it strengthened it because it was like, all right, God, you know, all right, I'm still gonna rock with you, but I don't know. Like right now, we on rocky terms, and then it was like, okay. We got pregnant again, but even after the miscarriage, we went through a year of like a chemical pregnancy.
Well, we actually ended up having two miscarriages.
Oh, I forgot the other one.
But the second one was more chemical. So pretty much what happened with the first one is they didn't get all the tissue out during the surgery, so it kept growing. Oh. So then it showed that I was pregnant. I had pregnancy symptoms. My stomach was growing, but that my body rejected the sac again. And so I remember we were at a wedding and like, where were we at? Philly or somewhere? Yeah. And we had to go to the ER second time and get the sac taken out. And I was just like, oh, it just felt traumatic. Yeah. And I remember.
Why are you picking on us, yo?
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I was like, the church is picking on us. And then my friends at the old church said they can't be friends with me anymore.
Cowards.
And I was just, well, we're friends now. It's okay. Still we work through it. It's okay. Those are still my friends now. But we work through it because it was a cult mindset, right? Like a cult-like mindset. And so it was so lonely. But what I did is
she said we friends now, still cowards.
I took all that energy of all the tests and trials and I shared it with people. Like I shared all the hurts, all the pains, like what a true friendship looks like, what happens when things don't go your way. Yeah. And it began to relate to people and they would feel less alone about where they are and what's happening in their life. And then I remember going before God like Hannah and just bawled my eyes out and I prayed and I said, God, if you give me a son, I will dedicate him back to you. And I declare he'll live for you all the days of his life. And I just kind of poured my heart out. And I remember after that, I was just like so frustrated because I'm a very self-sufficient person and I'm gonna figure it out. Like I'm gonna make it happen. Yeah. And so I started to take things in my own hands. I would walk in and my husband has his laptop on his lap typing. I would run and push it off his lap. You're killing our kids. Oh yeah. With the radiation. What are you doing? He'd be like, I'm going to the sauna. No, you not. You're cooking our kids. That's not what we're doing.
My girl, I done held these kids for 23 years.
And so he would be like, if I'm ovulating, I would put a little note. I'd be like, come on in the room. And he was like, it feels like a job, babe. I was like, okay, well, come work this 9 to 5. Come on.
She was trying to flip it up like sunshine. I was like, God, no. Bro, tired.
Come on, Tommy.
I'm like, every day. And so
every day. Ovulation weekend, I was like, God,
that was your workout.
Give us a child.
That was your workout.
Bro.
And then my period would come and I remember throwing a tampon and throwing the pad and being like, really, God? Like, what the heck? And I remember just crying out to him and being like, all right, I need to lay this down.
How long did this go on?
I would say like 6 months after the miscarriage, the second miscarriage.
Yeah. Then we quit trying.
Then we quit trying and I was like, you know what, God? I was like, God, I lay it down. Like, I'm really going to lay this down. I'm going to stop being crazy. I stopped tracking my ovulation. I stopped everything. And I was like, God, I lay this down to you because obviously your timing is perfect. And I gave all that energy to ministry. I gave all that energy to Pinky Promise, starting the ministry. I started bracelets and these bracelets sold out everywhere. It was crazy. Pinky Promise, no randoms. Yep. Random was a guy that's just pretty much like trash, right? Faith, love, Jesus. So remember the What Would Jesus Do bracelets? Yeah. So I wanted people to have a reminder of their faith, just as a bracelet, as an external thing. So I started a business and it blew up. And so started Pinky Promise. And so all of that. And then when we weren't trying, we weren't paying attention.
It was a quickie.
It was from a canceled flight. I was on a girls trip.
Look at him.
I was going on a girls trip. My flight got canceled. I went back to the house.
She came back home and I was like, oh snap, you back home, girl.
I was home for 5 hours. And then I go back and bam, I was pregnant. That's literally how it happened.
A
canceled trip. And then we got pregnant and it's crazy. When I was pregnant, I wasn't afraid like the other two. I was just like, no, this is going to be my son and he's going to make it to the earth. Like that was my thing. And the Lord said to me,
make it to the earth.
He said, don't worry about this pregnancy. He's like, trust me, you need me now to have, to protect him in the womb, but you're going to need me even more with him once he gets outside.
Amen.
And I was like, you ain't never lie.
Amen.
And so, yeah.
Was that the son that had the electric bike?
E-bike accident
on his birthday?
On his birthday 2 weeks ago. We were supposed to come a little earlier.
Yeah, he's supposed to come a little earlier, and the next thing you know, he's like, their child had an accident or whatnot, and then I started watching the stories.
Scariest day of our life.
So how bad was it?
It sucked. I think it was like the shock and the trauma that went into it because we were preparing to take him to a steakhouse for his birthday.
We just sang happy birthday to him.
Everything.
Cut the
so
cake.
He wanted to go outside to ride his e-bike, and he went out.
Did he get that for his birthday or something? Or?
No, he already had it. We didn't want him to have it, but he trades stocks and stuff like that, and so he had made enough money himself to buy it.
We're like,
and so we're like, you know what? This is a reward for you. You can buy it. You got to wear your helmet. And he went out going down a hill, distracted, hit the sidewalk, tumbled over. But it was how it went down. I was getting dressed, and our neighborhood has a 911. There's a lot of different chats, and the 911 chat said there's a kid outside bleeding from the head.
From the head, 11-year-old. And I had my phone and I immediately knew it was him. My heart dropped. And I get all the alerts on my phone. So I'm shaking, freaking out. I run upstairs and I was like, we have to go. We have to go. He's in the bathroom.
I'm like, what? And I
was like, come on.
Run out, no shoes on. We get in the car and we pull up to the scene, and it was just like, it's like your heart drops. Because I thought I lost my son.
Yeah, you don't know what you finna walk into.
It was blood everywhere. It was the scariest day of my life.
It was it was a lot. It was a lot. And then, being there with him, and I'm like holding him and I'm talking to him like, what is today? Like, what's going on? And he's like, Dad, is it a lot? And I'm not good with blood and stuff like that. It was a very, very traumatic day. Cause I kept telling him the whole day. I let him skip school, right? Because that's my best friend. I call him Twin. Yeah. And I took him down to Little Tokyo in LA. We got burgers. We did all this stuff together. We listened to our music together. We joan, we hang out, laugh. And so I kept telling him, I was like, I know it's your birthday, bro, but I'm celebrating too because you made me a dad today. And so it's just a special day for me. Like, this is my right hand. This is my firstborn. Mm-hmm. And then for that to happen, it was a reminder, like, what is important and what's not.
I guess he blacked out. And the first thing he heard was my voice when he came. I literally jumped out the car. I think the car was still moving.
It was still moving. I was like, girl, you are about to.
I jumped out and I grabbed his head and I was like, I plead the blood of Jesus over you. I was like, no weapon formed against you shall prosper.
Over here.
I'm declaring Satan, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
His neck might be traumatized.
He got blood all over. I mean, I took my hoodie off, like this bra on. I put it on his head and I was like, no weapon formed against my family shall prosper.
I moved her because I'm like, his neck, his back might be. I was like, go over here. She's over there. She's like, she's praying. The neighbors are like surrounded. No. My wife is like, in the name of Jesus. And
try somebody else. Not my seat.
You took the hoodie off. You got a bra on.
Yes.
She on a tank top.
It was like
and
a little crop
cold.
top.
Now she's cold.
I was freezing.
And like, so the neighbor ran inside, got her a hoodie. She's sitting over there. And I'm just like, hey, I'm like, Logan.
Try somebody else. Try somebody else. And they're all like Buddhist, Jewish, like.
And I'm on the ground with him, and so he opens up his eyes and he sees me.
Yeah.
So he was like, he remembers. He's like, the first voice I heard was his mom, of course. But he's like, the first person I saw was my dad.
Yeah.
And I got him, and I was like, bro, it's gonna be fine. Like, you good. And it's crazy because in that moment, I'm telling him it's fine.
But you don't feel, I
don't even know if it's
scary.
fine.
It was
I'm
scary,
just I'm trying to give you a faith that I don't have. But I tell you something, Laterras, like after that, it made me really evaluate God's love. Because bro, the type of love that I got for them, for my family, my wife, my kids, like type of love I got for them. I'm so imperfect. I am like, I got so many issues, so many flaws, but like the type of love that I have, it can't be disputed. If God would have given me the moment 5 minutes before and said, Cornelius, this is about to happen, you can spare him, you can have it, but it'll be 1,000 times worse. I would quickly take it. And I'm just like, yo, I can see why my Savior would drink that cup for me.
Teach.
Because that's true agape.
Teach.
And in that moment, it was like just a whole revelation. I was like, all right, God, I feel you. I ain't never proven myself to you again, because my son has never had to prove himself to me. I've never once made him prove himself to me. And yet, for me to love somebody that much in his moment of pain, like... Nah.
Cornelius, that's good.
Nah. And that's another reason why I don't mind being disliked for my authenticity, because I'm like, who gives a crap if you don't like me? I'm so deeply loved.
There it is.
By my God, that you are so, like, your dislike and your distaste for me is so irrelevant.
Teach.
You have no idea. Like, I care more about a cat playing with yarn in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
That's my husband.
Than your approval or your affirmation for me, because I don't need it. I'm so loved, you know. So that was tough though, man. I ain't cried that much in a long time, bro.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
But it caused us to never question God's love, because as I was laying there with him post taking care, like being a caregiver, I said I would do anything to take his pain away, and Jesus, like, I did. He's like, I actually did that. I wanted to take away your pain because I could see what would happen if you continue down that path. And I will never question God's love ever in my life, because I know how that felt. I wanted so bad to free Logan from that pain, and I would have taken it through and through.
What was the feeling after he was born, knowing what y'all had dealt with months prior to?
It felt like God's promises, like, man, you really do give us the desires of our heart. You do, because we actually were like, God, whether you bring this child through us or through adoption, man, we'll take it. We actually started looking into adoption.
Yeah, we didn't know if we could have kids.
We didn't know if we could have kids.
I don't know if my thought was really spiritual. Mine was just like, God, dog, what am I supposed to do with this boy? Because I don't have a good relationship with my dad's. Because I just found out a little over 2 years ago that the man who raised me wasn't my father. And so I don't have a good relationship with either one of them, really. I mean, we're cordial and everything, but we're not close, you know. And I think it was like a mixture of like excitement, but it's like, dang, can I take this responsibility?
Yeah.
Like I'm still growing up myself, and I wanted this moment so much, and I got to be strong for my wife, and I got to be strong for him, and now I'm just like, oh snap, like this is a lot. I just felt a ton of pressure.
How are you reconciling being told one thing, being raised by a man that was told that was your father, and then turning your whole world upside down with this new knowledge? What did that do to your identity? Because fathers give their kids identity, and for you to go through life not even knowing your true identity, or being told one thing that was false, and then now you like, how did you navigate that, and how are you navigating that?
Everything that happened to my son made me really emotional about it. Because on the flip side, it was like, you know, I never questioned God's love for me. Then I broke down crying in the car because I was like, dang, why didn't I get a dad who loved me like that? Like, what was so wrong with me that I didn't have a dad who loved me like that? And that part, so it still stings. But honestly, man, I grew up knowing that he wasn't.
You did?
I had a feeling. I mean, we don't look alike. We don't act alike. A lot of things that just weren't alike, and it wasn't lining up. It really wasn't lining up. But I was like, I'm rocking out with it. If this is it, I'm rocking out with it. But then when I met my birth father, so I still got two dads. Step birth, they still dads. You know what I mean? And I do appreciate, you know, my dad for at least staying and at least taking care of me.
So how was the knowledge presented to you?
I got into a big fight with him, huge fight with him, and you know, some things were said that weren't the best. And my mom was like, she had to tell me something. And I was like, I don't want to hear her, because I thought it was going to be the same thing. Like, that's your dad, love your dad, be there with your dad, blah, blah, blah. And it's crazy because we were thinking about divorce at that time. And so Heather came to me and was like, Cornelius, like, your mom really needs to talk to you. Because I guess my mom talked to her first. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of cornered me. And we're sitting at the table, and she was just like, so I got to tell you something. She told me, and I was like, and I immediately went numb. And then she showed me who it was, and I was like, well, I want to talk to him. Then I also found out that I had a brother. I have a brother and 2 sisters. And so it was like, dang. And it was I had a lot of emotions. So I was like, dang, like I always wanted a brother. I have an older sister I grew up with, and she's amazing.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She like amazing. Like one of my sheroes. And so I always wanted a brother growing up. And to know that I had one for 36 years and didn't know it, like that sucked. And then when you see him, I mean, we look just to like his head bigger than mine though. If you could believe it or not, Chase, you watching this, bro, your head huge, homie. Like, I'm just saying. But he was, you know, I get emotional thinking about it. But I wanted to meet him, and I finally went and met my dad with this type of knowledge, because he was telling me, you know, I was there when you were younger and I gave you clothes, and I don't remember that. I went to like his basketball camp. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But as an adult and as a father, I don't blame my mom and I don't blame my dad's, because as a parent now, I understand, like I can empathize to the point of why you may not have wanted to share that.
Explain that, because a lot of times people are saying, and me, I have no understanding of that, of how that could be justified. But you being someone that's in it, lived it, give understanding. Why do you say that?
I'm a parent. Like, you know, as a parent, you try to do what's best for your kid. And it could have been a form of protection in my mom's mind. Like, you know, we've never really gone into depth about it, and I don't know if I even want to. That's what I'm saying.
And even without going into depth, you feel the way you feel.
Absolutely.
As a parent, you're saying, I trust them with the fact that they made the best decision.
They made the best decision. And also I know that God wastes nothing. So maybe that was the best choice that I didn't know. Because maybe that's where I got my ambition and my drive from, to constantly want to prove something to people. And I wrote 16 books, not because I like writing books. I just wanted approval from my dad.
Ooh.
Every book, I'm like a rabbit chaser. I chase after the rabbit, but once I get it, I throw it away because I don't really want it.
Ooh.
I just chase after it because I think it looks good. So it's like, I did a lot of stuff in my life because I just wanted my dad to look at me and say, proud of you.
Did he ever say it?
Nah.
Well, your stepdad did, or the dad that raised you did. He said he was proud of you.
Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end.
Like growing up, I ain't hear that.
Yeah, growing up, he didn't.
I ain't hear that.
But the past 2 years.
Yeah, in the past 2 years or so, yeah.
But you chased your life, your ambition was fueled by the approval that you were seeking from
my dad. And then like it's a lot of variables in that. Like as a parent, you try to do what's best for your child. And then at the same time, like you have to understand, like, you know, my mom, I look at that and I'm like, man, you know, I don't know how she felt in that moment to have a child by this other man. Mm-hmm. And then I look at my birth dad and I'm like, you know, I knew who he was in the community because he told me like, this is who I was in the community. I mean, as a black man, he was the first black man hired in Mississippi in a predominantly white county. Mm-hmm. Like your perception means a lot. Like, do I still feel a certain way about that because I felt like he chose his perception over his child? Do I still feel a certain way about that? Absolutely. But nonetheless, I can't spend my life bitter at them. I can empathize with them. I still have feelings about it. I still get pissed off about it sometimes, but at the same time, I'm not mad at anybody.
So you gave, first of all, a lot of emotional maturity with saying that I understand and I accept it. But even from a biblical standpoint, where God says, "For I know all things work together for the good of them that love God and to the called according to His purpose." 16 books was written, fueled by the seeking the approval of the father who raised you, and then the impact that those 16 books made in the world. So it's interesting because I've heard people say this from time to time, that they grew up with the knowledge of this one particular person being their dad, and then find out something else. Never heard nobody say they thought this person was their mama, but it's always their dad, you know. And so you find this thing out, but to know that I think you healed a lot of people by saying that, because of the fact people are walking with bitterness, resentment towards their parents or whatever, saying, why didn't y'all just man up or woman up and just tell me the truth? And they expected that truth to be told at 7 years old, 5 years old or whatever. Yeah. And you sitting there like, I'm a grown man and this was brought to me, what'd you say, just 2 years ago?
Yeah, I was 36 when I read about it, when I heard about it.
And then here you are.
Thing. Like my wife was saying earlier, it's looking back, you always think, why didn't you do this? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I remember growing up thinking, when I become a parent, remember we had all these conversations about what we're going to do when we become parents?
When I have a child, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to
eat fast food. I'll pull in Chick-fil-A real quick. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's easy for you to be able to judge somebody else.
Exactly.
But we don't take the time. Like, I feel like that's a part of our faith. To empathize, like that's a part of compassion. That's a part of care. That's what the whole, Samaritan, Good Samaritan was about, to care for your brother and mom, dad, because we love to judge our parents. Like we tell our kids all the time, y'all better not get in that therapist room line, because we was there. But you know what? Bro, I have people whose parents were involved, and they strung out on drugs.
Yes.
So it's like, it's so easy for us to sit around and blame our parents, but doggone it, they've never been parents before.
Absolutely.
They growing up too.
Yes.
They got their own issues.
Yes.
Our generation before us, they weren't going to therapy. They're like, well, if my parents would have done this, Negro, that's what you here for.
Change your generation. Break the generational curses.
I'm mad at my mama. Man, get over. Not get over. I want you to. Don't get over it.
You got to heal.
I want you to heal.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I want you to really sit with it.
Yeah.
Like, build a tent there. Don't build a house. Build a tent. And then take that tent, deal with the feelings, and then move through the stages of grief. Get to that place of, because I've been numb. I've suffered from depression. Almost unalived myself in December 2019.
Yeah.
And I was pastoring a church, three different campuses, multiple services, on top of the world, traveling all over the world, books, got a beautiful wife, kids at home. But I'm at 1:30 in the morning getting ready with a gun right next to me with my wife and my newborn, the third son, in the middle of us, getting ready to unalive myself. And the only thing that saved me was my daughter, her room across the hallway. She was walking over and I saw her shadow and she was rubbing her eyes and she said, "Daddy, can I lay with you?" I got tears coming out of my eyes. Only reason why I put it back in the drawer was because she's there. She woke up the next morning like, why is Taylor in the bed with us? Because Taylor asked to cuddle with me. And I knew I couldn't do it then because now I got my daughter here. So it's like,
Did you tell Heather?
Later on. I didn't tell her then.
How much time passed? Because you over here suffering in silence. And
I wrote a book called Suffering in Silence.
Oh, really? And so you over here suffering in silence, and y'all are married, laying in the same bed together. You want to unalive yourself. And how long did you bring her into that world to say, this is what I'm dealing with?
I would probably say like 2 years later. Because
2 years later.
Well, the thing is, I knew you were depressed the whole time, though.
But you know it got that serious, huh?
I think I did. No, I did. I knew.
But it's like, okay,
that's why I would hide the gun.
Where was I supposed to go? If we could just be real for just a minute, where am I supposed to go? And they say, okay, why don't you go to your pastor? I went to them. I was told by one of them. I shared part of my life. You want to know what the response was? Oh man, that's tough. Could you help me with my social media?
Cornelius.
Oh, Cornelius, I would love to invite you to come preach at my church. Bro, I don't want to preach at your church. I'm legit suffering. And then if we could be honest, if pastors are listening, we understand this truth. Ministry is competition. I can't have ministerial friends in other pastors in Atlanta because you assume that I want to take your members.
Yeah.
I want you to take the ones who came to my church. If there was a problem at yours, I don't want them at mine.
That part.
I don't want them. They came on their own. I want them to leave. This is a revolving door. And where am I supposed to go?
All the time. Yeah.
Where was a safe place for me? I can't be friends with people in my church because they're going to talk about me. If they see my humanity, they don't want anything to do with me. Even though they crave authenticity and transparency, they don't really like it when they see mine. I can't be transparent and authentic around the guys who are pastors in ministry. I'm supposed to go to my leaders. What do they do? You come to my conference. I don't want to go to your stupid conference. I'm paying money to get mentorship. Five racks a month to get mentorship. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Read one of my books? I reached out to one pastor. He sent me his sermon. I don't want to listen to your sermon. Where am I supposed to go? So now I'm depressed. I'm suicidal. And here's the thing. As a man, I don't want to dump it all on her because I got to be strong for her.
Yep.
I got to be strong for the kids. I got to be strong for the people around me. Yeah. And I am freaking dying inside.
Yeah. It was moments where you stood up at church and mentioned that to the congregation.
I said it. Tell him, baby.
All the time. He would stand up and say, I'm depressed and I don't want to do this. And I don't want to be your pastor anymore. And they'd be like, you so crazy, pastor. My pastor is so real.
My pastor's so real.
He's so real. And then 3 different times he sat up in meetings and was like, hey guys, we're passing the church over to the associate pastor. I'll be here to preach every now and then, but we're passing it over because I'm feeling real depressed. I'm feeling really low. And they would stand up and be like, nope, you ain't leaving us. You can't leave us. And he would stay. I mean, we loved our members. Like they were family to us.
But I'm dying.
But
I'm dying. I'm legit dying.
He tried for maybe 2 years to pass the church over.
2 years.
Yeah.
And then on the transition and exit or whatever, now y'all riddled with accusation that y'all was stealing money from the church.
Child. I'm still shocked by that. I'm like, what?
Laterras, I started a church in 2013. I didn't get a dime in 6 years.
I was pissed, and I was pissed because I'm managing our budget.
6 years.
Like,
Laterras, 6 years. I'm releasing books and doing other things in business just so we can help pay the bills. Yeah. Because here's the other thing: we didn't do these people like who talking about some $200 line, and we didn't. I would be criticized because I wouldn't talk about offering because it was such a taboo subject for me because of where I came from in the prosperity gospel. I wanted to stay away from it. I want to be so far away from it that I didn't even bring it up. If you want to give, just go. And if you tell black folks that, they don't give nothing. They're like, I don't want to. So you almost got to enslave them, which is what happens now. It's a bunch of slavery. That give you. Let me tell you got to do it. And let me give you a consequence for it, and then you got to do it.
That's true.
And I didn't do that.
But we never wanted to manipulate people to give. We wanted them to give because God wanted them to. And the crazy thing is we knew pastors scamming. And we knew pastors stealing from the church. So the fact that they accused us, we'd be like, wait. We purposely tried to avoid it at all costs.
And then here's the other thing. We let you in on our life.
We did. So
we bring you to our house. On Sundays, I would preach 3 services. I would stop by Kroger's, buy food, and I go home and cook. We'd have 20, 25 people in the house.
But the thing is this, we also traveled. I wore nice stuff, bags. So we had multiple streams. Everywhere. Yeah, I'm doing conferences all the time. I'm preaching every week. And so people are looking at that like, oh, they're stealing from the church. Baby, I got multiple streams. I taught multiple streams. I had a mentorship where I taught multiple streams. I'm trading stocks. We're doing Amazon drop. I'm teaching people this and they're still looking at me like, yeah, y'all stealing, y'all thieving. And I'm like, actually, we're not. And guess what? You go to jail for stealing and nonprofits. Are y'all slow? We're here. We ain't like what?
I'm just like it's wild. But here's the crazy thing. We had a congregation full of people who look like me, who like us, and it was just like, but y'all will go over here to this white pastor, and y'all don't say the same thing about him because it's easy for you to sit under him and assume that he has multiple businesses. But you come over, you look at me because we're young and we're this and we're that, and you got to assume that all of that, Laterras just kind of buttled to the point where I was like, you know what? Y'all Negroes can have this.
Absolutely.
If this is the game that y'all want to have,
that part,
y'all can have it. And now that I'm out of it, it's like, yo, we can live our lives. We still travel. We still do. I still go to the gym for 3 hours a day.
Making more than we ever have.
Oh, yeah. The gym.
You work out for 3 hours?
Bro, the whole time, man. I love it. I would legit stay in the gym all day, without a doubt.
We spent so much money paying for events. People don't understand. Events are not free.
They're sure not.
We would be in the red on events. There's
$35 for tickets. Yep. People out here charging $300-$400 a ticket.
Absolutely.
We charging $45.
We literally did it just so more people could come, and so people knew it wasn't about money. And then they try to flip it and say that we're stealing money. And I'm like,
I would be giving away tickets.
How many members did y'all have at y'all church at the zenith of it?
I don't even know. I didn't count.
It's probably like 1,200 or 1,400, somewhere around there at the end.
No members. I mean, people who were coming, coming regularly, but members, I don't know. I hated the numbers. I never looked at the numbers. I didn't even know how much people gave because how pastors be like, well, Monday you need to let me know how much. I didn't know and didn't care.
He couldn't even get into the account. He had another person, accountant, and a whole accounting team.
Because I didn't care.
He literally.
And it was like,
care.
well, he wants to abuse. If you could tell from my personality. I don't lord over people.
No.
Yeah.
Do what you gonna do.
Yeah.
I really don't care. You want to go? You want to go to Bible school? Go. But my thing is, I just want you to know that studying God, God is too big to study. He's not a study. You don't learn about God in a classroom. You learn about God in life. You meet God in a closet when you're praying, and then you go through life and you learn about it. But if you want to go. Do what you do. I'm a big do what you do. I really don't care. I'm not a lord over people.
You spoke a word right there.
I just don't care.
It's basically saying I'm going to experience God in the closet, and then I'll go out in the world to learn about him. It's like, because through relationships is what we learn about ourselves. We learn about how God impacts people's lives. Like, I always love doing homeless ministry because I learned so much about who God is, the resilience of people. You'll talk to a homeless person that has nothing but have faith bigger than a millionaire. Yep. You be like, hold on, you still believe in God? Oh, God take care of me. Be like, he taking care of you. You have nothing. Right. They be like, yes, beautiful. I do. All I got is a little tent right here, and I got this. You be like, I would give up on God if this was my life. And other people like, oh no, God has been good to me.
Yeah. And that's where we were with that. It was like, I see it, but I know you do you too. You want to talk about the thing, so I don't want to harp too much on that. It was her saying that she didn't like me because she don't like me.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. Matter of fact, so Pinky Promise is going off. It's taking off. You're doing conferences all across the U.S. I don't want to limit it. Y'all go across the world. Did y'all do some international stuff?
Cape Town, London.
We did. Yeah, we had Nigeria, a conference in Nigeria.
All over the world.
Kenya, y'all international with this thing.
8,000 people.
We had about 80 to 90 groups all over the world in small groups. It was crazy. And at the time,
you're the first person to do small groups.
First person. When I say that thing blew up, and nobody else was doing it because we had our major mega pastors. Yeah. And then I come in, first generation preacher. Didn't really grow up in the church.
No hookups.
No hookups, no connections. We're using our own money to pay for things.
Coming from a blog.
That was free.
That was free.
We didn't charge because she didn't charge membership.
I didn't charge any membership.
It was free.
People would be like, charge membership for Pinky Promise. I'd be like, I refuse to do that. I will not do that. This is my gift to them.
And people still criticize what was free.
And then I did monthly studies, and then I did actual workbooks. I would do workbooks, and I would
chip on the shoulder. He still got chip.
Because listen, it actually affected our marriage.
It was free,
but it would affect our marriage.
You didn't like it? Go somewhere else.
He hot right now.
I would be on the phone with girls from online at 2 a.m. counseling them.
Really?
And it got to a point where he said, you're married to Pinky Promise and not me. I wanted to help these women so bad that I was giving them everything that I had. And it affected our marriage very much so.
And so what year y'all marriage was Pinky Promise birth?
2011.
2011.
And y'all married how many years at this time? 3?
It was like 9 months.
Yeah, 9 months.
Oh, so it started at the beginning.
At the very beginning. Yeah.
It was the beginning.
It was crazy. And we weren't expecting
Hold on. So y'all dealing with a miscarriage.
Yeah.
To a mechanical miscarriage as well. Then you have this ministry that's taken off. Yep. Now your attention is there. It's all these components that will cause a divide of a marriage really quickly. A loss of a kid. Most divorces happen because of a loss of a child or a loved one. Then you have prioritized needs. You're doing this stuff for Pinky Promise and ministry. Typically, it's the other way around. The man's ministry, being a pastor, his focus is here, and then the woman feels isolated. But now here it is. You got a whole international ministry taken off, pretty much unexpected. Because I bet you if I asked y'all like, we never saw this happen.
Never in a million years. Never.
And so this takes off. Your attention is here. It's causing a great divide in y'all marriage. Did y'all ever talk about it as it was taking place? Did you ever say, Cornelius? Did you ever say, your responsibility is here, and all these women sitting on the phone at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I mean, like she said, we had that one argument where I was like, you talking way too much to these women. Like, all right, let's back this up a little bit.
Did she do it?
Yeah, she
That's
did.
when I started the small groups.
Yeah, she
I said,
started a
y'all
small
counsel
group.
each other. Y'all help each other.
That's smart.
Because I need to make sure my marriage is my first ministry.
And then the issue, like, women will criticize and be like, well, I was told this to do in Pinky Promise. They didn't realize is that they had a Pinky Promise group leader. And the Pinky Promise group leader we would hear would be giving out other laws and other things that Heather didn't even say.
I'd be like, I didn't say that, baby.
But the leader of this group is like, well, y'all women need to do this because they would be doing their own thing. They would use it as their opportunity to have a platform. And so whenever you're at the top of something, you're always a target,
and you're responsible for whatever happens in that organization.
And we're used to that. But yeah, she had it.
So when you look back on that, Heather, when you look back, 'cause I was talking to you in the pre-interview, and you said I listened to some of that stuff, just like Cornelius says, he cringes at some stuff that he said. What are some things that comes to mind that you say, things that you said in these conferences or books or blogs or whatever it was that people, where this information was disseminated, that you look back and go, ugh.
I will say this. I liked a lot of the stuff that I said before. I'm just going to put it out there. I do think that my personality itself is very driven, very ambitious, very strong. When I notice there's an area of weakness in my life, I have a full checklist, to-do list of what I need to do to change, what I need to do to be better. Like, that's how my brain thinks. Mm-hmm. So when women are coming to me with their problems and their issues, I'm like, look, this is what you need to do, baby girl. Mm-hmm. You want to lose weight? Put the donut down. Let's pick up a green smoothie. Like I'm not going to be the soft, person like, hey, it's okay. Just live in that. I'm like, nah, baby girl, you need to grow and get better. You want to get better in your life? You want to level up? But this is what you got to do, baby girl. So there's times where I was tough and very hard in that way. It's like, tell your feelings to shut up. Like, that's problematic. Yeah. No, baby, you need to sit in that and figure out why, because they keep on coming up in all your relationships and it's destructive and it's toxic. And it probably came from your mama because she's the same exact way.
Absolutely.
So I feel like during that time, I was very firm and very strong with them. But I stand by telling people to honor God with your body and your life. And I will stand on that until Jesus comes back. My goal was always to help women to see their worth and their value, that they're enough, that they're beautiful, and that a man is not a cookie for good behavior. Like, we're not doing all this for you to get a man. We're doing all this so we can glorify God with our life. And that's always been my heart.
What do you think when people say that, in spite of what you just said, they said that they felt that the messaging that you gave them was, you honor your body. He gonna tag Cornelius in. If you honor your body, you would get the reward of a husband. And if you did not honor your body, nobody's ever going to want you because you're used up.
All right, that's not true, because I was not a virgin before I got married. I was not a virgin. I turned up a little bit pre-Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I turned up a little bit. So that's not true. That's not what I taught. And people know that, I was the leader of the whole ministry. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Pre-Jesus. Not really. I ain't got that many bodies, but let's just say I kept a long relationship. Sorry, baby. I kept a long relationship. Okay. I was a girl that was with the guy for 2 years or 3. Like, I always had a man. Broke up with one, had a new one, but we stayed together for like 2 or 3 years. Right. So that was always me. And so I think you have to be careful.
Were you saved during that time, though?
No, I wasn't saved.
So do you excuse that behavior because you were saved?
No, when I got saved, I still turned up a little bit. You know what I mean? I still turned up. But that's why I was so passionate, because I was like, okay, the difference between these church guys and the world is the guys will repent after they try to screw you. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, that's the difference. But I still struggled with that. But you can't blame somebody else for your singleness. You have to take responsibility for where you are and your mindset and your thought process. But I always shared with people, hey, we're not doing all this for a man, right? I want you to have standards and boundaries, but I'd always share, hey, don't try to change your man. You got to work through some stuff. Have your deal breakers, like salvation, whatever the case is. But, you can't blame somebody else for your singleness. You can't. And I'm
Cornelius, you want to tag in? What you want to say?
I want to say a couple quick things. Number one, wisdom is relative.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The Bible is full of wisdom. Mm-hmm. Like it's wise for me to tell you to wear a coat in the wintertime. That's wisdom. Yeah. Or just to wear a coat. That's wisdom. Yeah. When it's cold. But if you wear a coat in the summertime, it's still wisdom, but you're just not using it in the correct way. So a lot of people would hear what we would say, and it's wisdom, but they just use it in the wrong way. Number two is that people hear what they want to hear, and then they use it how they want to use it. And then number three, the last thing, Jesus came and Jesus said, listen, he said, I'm not coming to do away with the law, because he was basically saying, the law is what it is. He said, but I am coming to fulfill it. It's not incorrect. It's just incomplete. And so when my wife, she's saying, I stand 10 toes down in it. She's saying, listen, I said what I said. It's still wisdom. It's not incorrect. It's just incomplete. And now we come in now with a teaching that is wrapped more in humanity, because that's what Jesus did, which is why he is God in flesh. He literally showed us humanity. John chapter 1 says he took the word, became flesh. He showed humanity and how humanity matched in with divinity. And now you have the two that come together, and it's not just divine. So she's saying, listen, it wasn't incorrect. It was incomplete in the form we didn't have humanity. But now we bring humanity into it. But again, she said you can't blame people for the fact that you're single. It's like, baby, but it's like, have you looked at yourself?
I knew you were gonna say it, Cornelius. You gotta stop. You was doing good. You was doing good.
I gotta stop.
Stop right there, because you was doing good. That's gonna be a real this little moment. Now you're finna go insult people. That's where you about to go too far.
No, I'm not insulting anybody. It's really. It's being able to look in the mirror, bro. And I don't think there's a great deal of introspection. Tell me if I'm lying, because you deal with this, and I'm trying. You converse with people all the time about relationships.
Absolutely.
We live in a society that has big expectations for everybody else, except themselves.
Yep.
So they can't look in the mirror. You have people who are like, I want somebody who's in shape. They haven't seen a gym.
Wow.
In 10 years.
Yeah.
I want somebody who's financially secure. They got more debt than the United States of America. But no, I'm just saying we don't introspect, and then that's what's full of churchgoers.
That's true.
We love to blame everybody else, put an expectation on everybody else, but we have a difficult time looking at ourselves in the mirror. Which is why you have all these gossip sites. People hit me up. Did you hear about this pastor? What he was doing? What is it? You found out he was human?
Yeah.
Is that what you found out? Yeah. Because here's the thing, Negro. I know what you did.
That part.
But let's talk about what these people. I want to tell you about this person. Let's talk about you. We don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with judging the log in our own eye, because it's so cool to talk about somebody else and blame somebody else.
It's easy to play the blame game, but I would love to coach the woman. If you're single, okay, let's walk through it. All right, let's get to the root.
You still do that?
I not as much as I used to. I've been really focused on trading stocks and teaching people,
making that bread.
Period. But people are getting saved, and I'm thankful. It's a ministry. It's still ministry. But I would love to coach her and be like, all right, let's talk about the guys that are approaching you. I was preaching somewhere in Bimini, Bahamas.
I love that place. I went there in January.
Oh, I love it. So I'm preaching, and I was talking about singlehood. This girl walked up to me. She said, I'm 45 years old. I never heard no teaching like that in my life. She said, every guy that walks up to me, I just brush them off, because they don't look exactly how they need to look, and they're not this, and they don't have that. And God showed me that I overlooked everybody he sent me. So it's almost like you're out on the boat waiting for the man, and people are coming by, and you're like, no, you're not good enough. Look, let me tell you about my husband really quick. When I met him, he had Aeropostale jeans, oversized Old Navy shirts with holes on it. Hold on, somebody. And I said, you know what? I see potential.
You catch the strains,
but I'm just saying, my baby has swag. Okay, and it's not that I'm trying to change him, but what I'm saying is, I gotta show you before and after picture.
Now you're bringing up pictures?
My baby has swag now. So what I'm saying is,
she said, "Now
this is a grown man." Now. Okay.
So you didn't like me back then?
No. I was attracted to you. I just didn't like your clothes.
You said, ooh.
He had, but no, listen,
peep this. No.
She would have popped the balloon.
Oh no, he had suits. Now I was obsessed with suits, and I worked down on Wall Street, so I see black men in suits, and I'd be like, "Whoo, Jesus, I ain't doing good." And when I met him, he had a suit. I was like, "Whoo, Jesus." So, but then, everyday wear, he dressed like an old bishop who's about 60.
That's because I didn't buy clothes.
His friends were like bishops. You know what I mean?
They weren't no bishops.
Pastors.
I didn't have no pastor friends.
Yes, you did.
No, back then I did not.
Baby, everybody that was friends was 20 years older than you. Think about it. All the people we hung out with and went on double dates with. I'm like,
no, because I had to. Because we were trying to be accountable.
They're your accountability.
Okay.
But even now, I don't have a lot of pastoral friends.
Yeah,
a lot of them are fake.
You said when y'all went out to eat, y'all had to have these people.
Yeah, we had
a lot of chaperones, a lot of chaperoning. But the thing was, I feel like people throw. I just feel like people don't give a relationship a chance. Like, let him have the basics. You can work on that other stuff.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, a deal breaker, I wanted a leader, and I wanted somebody who loved Jesus. That was like, all right, I can work with everything else.
Really?
I didn't want no beta man. I need you to be strong because I'm strong.
Did you care about what he looked like?
I cared about, I want to be a black man.
Well, I'm talking about that he had to be attractive.
Of course. I wanted to be attracted to him because I felt like you should be attracted to I was 100% attracted.
Was you caught up on height and all the other stuff?
I was caught up on height. I thought she was going to be taller than me. So in New York, in the Times Square Center, they had these 2 big statues, and I hid behind it when she was coming down the stairs. She was like, "Yeah, I'm coming down the stairs," and I was trying to look and see who she looked like, and if she was taller than me, I was going to leave.
Isn't that crazy? Before him, I dated a guy in the NBA. So like,
I'm gonna date no WNBA player, like, bruh.
Child, baby. No offense to WNBA players that are listening.
She was just taller.
But
is that offensive? We don't.
It's okay, baby. It's okay.
Are people this soft nowadays?
Baby, it's okay. It's okay. So prior to him, I dated really tall guys. And so I did think like, oh, okay, he's a little short, but I can work with it. He's over 6 foot. We can work with it. But to me,
hold on, what did you say? Whoa,
I dated guys that were
I'm catching all type of strays today.
No.
What did you say?
You're wonderful. So the guys I dated before were like 6'6". So that's what I was used to.
She dated athletes.
Yeah, athletes. And so when I met him, I was like, he wasn't my type in that way. And in other ways, he wasn't an athlete. And I was used to dating, athletes. And so I was like, this is different, but I'd never felt such leadership and such purpose. And it's so crazy because I told him what God called me to do. I was like, God called me to preach the world. He told me that I'm going to travel all over the world and preach about Jesus. And he was the first guy that was like, you are going to do it. You can do it. Every other guy was like, whatever. Or they tried to change it. Like, no, you're not going to do that. You don't have any connections. You're first generation. But he was like supporting me. He actually put the mic in my hand, was like, go preach. I was like, I don't know how to preach. I haven't been a seminary. I don't know what I'm doing. He was like, the Holy Spirit can teach you all things. Go read and study your Bible. Go learn. So literally, he's the one who put the mic in my hand and was like, go figure it out. Before I would preach, I would freak out. I would shake. I'd have to go pee 100 times. I was like freaking out when I first started preaching. But now it's like natural. I mean, obviously, after all these years, I preached for 12, 15 years nonstop every weekend.
Cornelius, what'd you see in her back then?
I mean, I saw future. I saw future. I saw family. She wasn't my type though.
Wow.
I was born in Mississippi, raised in Georgia, Atlanta, South Side, Riverdale, Riverdale High, stand up, class to help away. But nug if you buck. But if so, she wasn't my type because I wasn't around women like her. So like all the women I dated before her they was like black women. My wife's mixed, and I went around mixed women, and so I wanted like a down south girl who could throw down with some pork chops and like and like mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes and collard greens on a Tuesday. You know what I'm talking about?
There it is.
And then I meet her and she's giving me like cranberries and cashews as a snack. And I remember looking at her, I was like, girl, ain't no bird. Like, what is this?
I was like, we need to clean out your liver.
She's like, no, you need to. Bro,
detox.
No exaggeration. Like, no exaggeration with this. She gave me cut up apples and almond butter. That was the first time I knew almonds made butter. I was like, almond butter? This is real. She's like, yes, you don't need to eat peanut butter because peanuts can spoil and they can mildew.
They don't digest.
And they don't
digest.
And I was just like, yo, what is up with this chick? When she said she made me a snack bag, I thought it was like some Doritos, some chicken nuggets. And I look in the bag and I was like, these are like all natural unsalted tortilla chips. I never we was on the plane. Me and Dr. was on the plane, and he was like, "Open up the bag, let me see it." I opened up the bag, and he was like, "Oh, you can have all that."
And mind y'all, she had a bag of apples today. She had some sliced.
She did. She asked me. She was like, "You want some apples?" And she ain't changed. She hadn't changed.
Every morning, what do the kids eat?
Apples and almond butter.
And a big fruit. I make fruit things for them every morning. Like
so when I met her and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, she different. She was like, how's she different? How's she different, babe? I said, Mama, like she don't eat fried food like that. She's like, she don't. I was like, no, I said, Mom, like she's like really healthy. She was like, healthy? I said, yeah, she don't like grease and stuff. And she was like, she don't eat grease. You know, we're from Mississippi. Like,
and I'm in New York City, working on Wall Street, like super healthy.
She's like, what you gonna eat, baby? You starve if you marry her.
Yo, I met her parents. I met her family. I love them. They're so dope. But when I first met them, yo, she's adopted.
Yeah.
Raised by white people. Is that offensive?
It's fine.
She's raised by white people. I love Mama Linda. Mama,
yeah,
I love you. Know Mama Linda. I love you if you watch this. First time I met her, I was like, yo, you got a black son. You know. But anyway, I was like, she raised by white people, so it's like when it got time to like cooking and stuff, bro. I went up there for Thanksgiving, bro.
We don't cook.
Because, I'm from the South, so my mama have a spread like turkey dressing, oyster dressing, chicken dressing, turkey greens with no meat, greens with ham hocks. And I get up there and it was like mashed potatoes from the box. It was like, oh, snap.
Oh, yeah, it was straight white people.
Bro, it was white people food. So I was like, one thing I was happy about was that she's going to get a chance to really eat and like experience life from a different angle.
I found out about Lowry's from my best friend who's black, my sophomore year in college. I had never heard of Lowry's my whole entire life.
She had never watched Coming to America.
Yeah, we watched it together. He gave me my black card because
she didn't know the Friday series.
Oh, God.
I didn't.
What did they do to you?
We had a cultural clash.
We said what they do to you.
She was like, when we have kids, we're going to put them in timeout. I was like, time out my ankles.
I have never spanked our kids. And we have a 12, 9, and a 6-year-old.
Still to this very day.
Oh, I can't.
To this day.
We communicate. Okay, so you need to write. So when they cut up and he's gone, they'll put, I will love my sister. I love my brother. Please. I will not hit them. And then there's a verse. So everybody write in scripture. And I always say, you guys, what does the soft answer do? Turns away wrath, mommy. So growing up, with discipline, it was communication. It was sitting down, getting onto your level.
Which is so healthy.
Let's talk about it. Let's work through it.
It's so healthy.
Let's communicate.
That's so healthy. And legit.
And I met him, and Logan did something. He had a water bottle. He was looking. He tossed it.
Before I even realized it, bro. I told him to go to the bathroom. So he said no. All I know was boom. I just threw it, and it went like right by his face. He was like, and Heather was like, oh my God. And I was like, say what you saying? Say it again. Please say it again. Please say it again. And he was like, nothing.
Logan says to this day, he's like, you are not a black mom. Yeah. Like, you are not a black mom at all.
It was reflex, Cornelius.
Reflex. I didn't realize I had done it until after she was like, did you throw a bottle at him? I said, I sure did. A whole water bottle.
I was like,
didn't even realize it.
We need to work through that.
Didn't even realize it. She was like, baby, let's talk to him.
You said, Cornelius, down, let's talk about it. Now, how should soft words turn away?
So, hey, I was like, yo, you need to move. But we compromised. I had the spoon.
Yeah.
Because, I had to learn that you don't want to, you should never discipline your kids with the same hand you love them with. And if I'm gonna hug them with my hands, I definitely don't want them to be afraid of my hands when I discipline. So I use a spoon.
The spoon.
And we would I learned from my wife and her culture to sit down and converse. So you understand what's going on. You understand why we don't do this. Or you get 3 licks. Turn around. Pop with a spoon. Pow, pow, pow.
And I would leave the room or go outside because I can't handle it. Like, I can't handle that.
I said I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
I grew up with a community where you can get a whooping. You can get paddling at school.
Yes.
You got beat in the grocery store by a cousin. Yep. Then when you got home, I got a whooping.
Absolutely.
And you get a whooping with whatever was around. Either the switch, you get a whooping with the belt, you get a whooping with the electrical cord. A hanger.
I never got whooped. Ever.
A hanger.
Everything was a conversation.
My great aunt hit me with a belt buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think balance is great. I think communication, but the Bible also says spare the rod, spoil the child. And so at the end of the day, it's like, if they're not listening to verbal correction, then we gotta amplify it to the next level.
We had a good balance. It worked out.
10 years of y'all marriage, y'all sit down to celebrate y'all's 10-year anniversary and have dinner. What was that conversation?
It was right in COVID. I just looked at my wife and I was like, do you like me? And she said, no. And she was like, do you like me? And I was like, nope. And then I look at her, I said, what are we supposed to do with that? And she was like, well, you're supposed to be the leader, so why don't you make it? And I was like, oh, so now you want me to lead. So now argument started. Now you want me to lead because you always want to take me. You always want. And I was like, you know what? Well, you know, we got two options. Either we can get a divorce or we can relearn each other, because nobody taught us in premarital that we will grow and evolve as people. The person I married is not the same person that's sitting here with me right now.
1,000%.
And after 10 years, it was like, now we're growing and now we're changing and we're evolving. And now I'm looking at her and I'm like, yo, I don't know if I like this person.
Like, I didn't know he cussed.
She didn't. She didn't know I cussed.
I didn't know. I mean, literally for what, 8 years? 8 to 10 years?
No, it wasn't that long. God, out.
No, it was. It was like 8 years in. It
wasn't no 8 years.
No, it was 8 years in. I realized he listened to secular music.
Secular music. Y'all,
remember?
Y'all be getting me with that.
What would you listen to, Cornelius? What you be listening
to? No, I didn't know.
Who do you remember who I was listening to?
I don't.
Look, I would code switch even when I worked for Creflo. I remember listening to Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I mean, all windows down, blasting it. Pull up in the church, and I heard him put on Marvin Sapp or somebody. Put up in the church. I never forget. Creflo rode with me one time. Dr. He rode me one time. He got in the car. He was like, I'm gonna ride with you. And I forgot to switch. And the car turned on and it was like, Amelia. He was like, why would you do
that? Happened to us too.
It happened to us.
We got in the car because I'm thinking my baby just listens to worship music all day. That's all I listen to.
She thought all I listened to them was the white people, the CCM. What was people called?
Hillsong.
Jesus culture.
She thought that's all I listened to.
All the things. So we get in the car and I hear another song. He's like, I don't know why that's on there.
Like, I have no idea. Oh my God. Why is Future on my radio?
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus. So you radio from hell.
So when we started our journey. Child.
You radio from hell.
You secular radio.
So when we started our journey of like authenticity, he would play the music.
Oh, God.
And the first time he tried to like play it while I was in the car, I was like, can you turn that down? I feel them demons coming out that song.
I feel the demons coming out of the song. You know, people watch this right now like, she's right. Yeah. There's spirits in the song.
So I have a different perspective. Y'all are cutting up.
There's spirits in the song. Heather is so right. He needs to get saved. But then they be the main people at the church big that listen to Electric Slide. You know that song supposed to be about masturbation? It is. It's about a vibrator.
My God.
Come on, y'all. Let's do an Electric Slide. Yeah, she's sliding that thing. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. Pot meet kettle. Pot meet kettle. That's all I'm saying. So, pot meet kettle.
Secular music is not a law. This is not a moralist thing. This is my conviction. Some people have convictions not to eat meat, like me. I'm convicted to be vegan, but I don't knock nobody that eats meat. Like I cook all the meat for my husband. I cook lots of food for him. You know what I mean?
I bring humanity to the marriage.
I don't like secular music. I don't play it. The kids know when you get in my car, you're either going to get a podcast or you're going to get worship. We're going to be worshiping the Lord. And that's just what I want. I work out and I listen to worship music.
I don't know how she does.
You know what I mean? That's just me. That's who I am. And so.
I don't know how she does. I just walk in, she's doing squats. And, Jesus is amazing. And I'm just like.
I God. Take a moment.
I had to walk out the room. I let you gotta walk out the room. I'm like, I'm about to go to sleep. I'm like, what is it?
Listen to Andy Mineo or Lecrae or Christian rap?
I don't like any of that. I like worship. So I'll be like in tears in my squats, like, Spirit lead me without water.
I'm like, girl, you in Pilates. You about to break that thing. You about to break that thing.
It's so hard. That's why I stop going to the gym because of the music. I don't like the music. I don't like secular music. I don't like cussing, but that's who I am. And so that's what I listen to. So when we started the journey of actually walking it out, I found out that, he listens to secular. He like cusses sometimes. I was like, wait, hold up. I did not know that for so many years of our marriage. And so No. But can I change him? No. The Bible says, win your husband over with your quiet and gentle spirit. My husband does not go around the house cussing all day. Like, it's just not who he is. He's not going to like cuss at me. That's not who he is.
You going to cuss at the kids?
Sit
your A down. You ain't going to say no stuff.
No, I won't do it.
Oh my God.
I mean, y'all did ask me before we got on here. Y'all was like, look,
you gonna act up?
Sir, you gonna keep them words. And I do, because here's my perspective on it. Two things. Number one, part of that journey of us not liking each other was the fact that we were not giving each other room to be ourselves.
That part.
And now I like her, she likes me because she can see me. And one of the things that we did tell each other in the journey, if there's ever something that you can see about me that you just can't deal with, leave. Because marriage is, you're not caged. You're not in jail. And so you can walk out, you can leave. But we see each other's humanity, and I think it helps us to be in a better relationship.
Yes.
It's crazy because the world can understand that a lot more than the church does.
Yeah.
We just see one thing we don't like about each other, and we just like, divorce, we're done. And it's just like, well, we don't really know each other.
Yeah.
So then we started to learn each other, and then, it's helped us to understand humanity more, because I would look at her and I'd be like, yo, like, this vegan thing is really bothering me. Or like, I can't listen to my music around you. But now it's like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I get a chance to practice my faith in knowing that if this thing offends you, then I won't have to do it around you. Mm-hmm. And that's completely fine with me. It's not like I need to have, like, even with me smoking a cigar, she don't want to smoke. And that's completely fine. I can do it outside. When I go in, I take a shower, I change my clothes, so it's not, I'm not smelling like smoke. Or I'll smoke like on my guys on my men's trips. Yeah. Or if I'm hanging out with one of my boys, I'll smoke. It's not like I'm just sitting around the house with a cigar like, hey kids, what y'all doing today?
Not at all.
Hey kids, I'm having a cigar today. Y'all want one? You want to try it? Like, it's not like that. But we also recognize our differences.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many married couples who we meet who they never take the time to recognize the fact they don't like each other.
That's true.
They know it, but they're so distracted by the kids, by the work, by everything that they can get away from it, go through the day and never confront the fact, I don't like the person I married.
That part.
And I feel like, and I'm going to blame social media and relationship podcasts, not yours.
Amen.
But other ones.
Not here. What are you talking about?
But what I'm saying is, oh my gosh. People compare their spouses to other people they hear.
Absolutely.
You don't know that spouse. You don't live with them. They could literally be performing and telling you what you want to hear. Yep. And then you take that mess home and you use it as a weapon against your husband. Mm-hmm. Oh, you need to go listen to this person. You need to listen to this podcast. You need to do, like, they're never going to change. Ever, if you're trying to compare them to somebody else, because they'll never feel like they can measure up.
That part.
Dudes be like, I quit watching porn, and then, somebody hear that, wife hear that, is like, well, I know my husband struggled with porn. You need to hear this message about this guy who quit watching porn. Number one, he probably didn't quit. Number two, the issue is much deeper than just the porn. Like, he watches it because he's lonely. He watches it because he doesn't have a safe place with you. He can't talk to you because you're so doggone guarded, and then you provide nothing but expectation that he cannot live up to. Yeah. So now he feels like he has to live up to everybody at work, his kids, and you. Teach. You are a job. Your marriage is a freaking job. Teach. And that's why he don't like you. That's why he don't want to be around you. That's why he'll have sex with you, and after he's done with you, he can push you to the side and think about something else. He don't like you, baby.
Teach.
And it's like, you want him to be like this dude who ain't doing nothing but putting on a show for everybody else. Because we in Christianity, we have the code words, porn. And we got to get over that. The issue ain't the porn. The issue is the fact that the person's lonely. They got nobody to talk to. And I forget the study we was looking at. It said this is the loneliest generation.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And the most disconnected.
We don't have community. Yep. So now church is like, hey, everybody, be in a small group. Let's put you all in a small group. But you don't understand. I don't like these people.
Yep.
And I can't be real with them, because if I'm real with them, they're gonna talk about me.
That part.
And they're gonna judge me, and they're not gonna listen to. They're not gonna be open.
Y'all hit the foundation of Dear Future Wifey. When I launched Dear Future Wifey, I was in. Can't say I hated myself, but I didn't like myself. And I said, I just mismanaged my marriage. I filed for divorce. I was married approaching 10 years, 2 weeks shy of 10 years. And my divorce was final December the 29th of 2015. And I said, you know what? After my divorce, I said, I want to heal publicly. That's the scariest thing to do. Wow. I said, I'm going to heal publicly. I said, I know that there's so many other people out here in this world that are Christians that are struggling with things in their past choices that they made. All of this because, of course, divorce is a scarlet letter D on a Christian's forehead. And so I said, okay, God, I'm going to heal. And I said, and I'm going to dare to be transparent. I'm going to talk about all my flaws. I talked about my infidelity in my past marriage. I didn't just skate over it and be like, yeah, you know, I've did some things that were questionable in my marriage. I said, I cheated on my wife multiple times. You know, I just said that. And people were like, oh my, I can't believe he said that. In my journey, I talk about my struggle in abstinence. I talk about that. I'll be abstinent. I'll take a vow of abstinence and be abstinent for a period of time. And then I'll fall off and I start sharing that. And then people are like, I can't believe he's a Christian and he's fornicating. You know, I was like, all right, the difference between me and y'all is that I have a platform where I'm sharing it. And God just kept telling me, just keep being honest, keep being transparent. The Bible says people will overcome by the word of your testimony, by the blood of the Lamb. And so I just kept testifying and taking people through this journey. But like y'all said, most people are so afraid to sit there and say, here's my scars. And because the first thing Christians do is they'll pick up a rock. And crucify you.
Period. Which makes church not a safe place.
Absolutely. And so I said the Dear Future Wifey podcast will be a safe place for people to be able to share their journey, share the idiosyncrasies throughout their marriage, mistakes that they made, moments. And so when I talked to y'all in the pre-interview, I said, they get it.
Yeah.
I don't like you. That they had to get to a place, because I believe in radical transparency, where you say, listen, I don't like you, and I don't like you either. You know how hard that is to hear?
It was tough.
And then say, but let's tear this thing down and rebuild it the right way. So how long did it take y'all to navigate a space from I don't like you to I like you now?
I mean, I don't think the journey ever ends. Because I don't want to let my guard down, because I want to give. The crazy, I want her to evolve now. Like we had to practice. Admit the fact that we had codependency. And we needed to be interdependent. I want her to shine. You know what I mean? But I want her to grow within herself. I don't want her to have to feel like, well, I need to be a certain way for my husband, because that's how we got married. Because you have all these expectations of this is the way, because it's like, you know, you're the pastor, so your wife needs to do this. Your wife needs to be in charge of women's ministry or the children's church. No, she don't want to be. She tell people like, I'm not the pastor, I'm the only lady. Like, it is what it is. But
I'm the only lady.
I'm the only lady, and I support him.
And I support him. But she's like, I'm not a pastor. Here. Don't do that. But I want her to.
So you call yourself the first lady?
She's like, show herself
the only lady. The only lady,
She's like, no, just call me Heather. And I didn't want people to call me pastor. I feel like it made me feel old. So I'd be like, yo, just call me.
Oh my gosh. But I remember when we were dating, and I went up to him and I did something like this, where I was like twerking.
And I was like, that's not classy.
And he's like, that's not classy. Because first ladies aren't supposed to do that. Because he saw his first lady wear St. John's from head to toe, covered up to her neck.
She had a shirt on. It was like, you know, the shirts with the ruffle.
The ruffle.
I want to buy you one like
he's
that.
Like, you need to wear that.
Looked like she was blossoming from her shirt.
First of all,
like she was blossoming. Remember, I tried to buy you them. I saw Hillary Clinton wear them pearls. I wanted to buy her some pearls. I said, you should wear some pearls.
No.
She was like, no.
That's not who I was.
Then I went to Tiffany. I said, oh, that's how much they cost? No, you ain't wear no pearls. You ain't wear no pearls.
And so when you thought that, were you trying to fit into that mold a little bit?
Honestly, not really. It was a little rebellion in me. There was.
So y'all both got a rebellious spirit?
Both.
Yeah, I was just like...
Both. So
I would outwardly be like, of course, babe, you know, I'll wear that. I'll do that. But inside, I'd be like, I ain't wearing no bra. You don't tell me what to do. You know what I mean?
She would.
Like, you know... So,
I'm like, that's crazy.
Like, we literally...
Just titties, just titties.
But I felt like I couldn't be myself, because I was really silly. Like, I wasn't so type A back then. I was more of a free bird.
You were a free bird. But now she's a free bird.
I'm more of a free bird now, but there was a period where I couldn't be free with him, because he's like, you're firstly, you have to be classy. But now when we watch our daughter, she'll do her little dances and stuff, and she can be herself. But I went through a period where I couldn't be silly with him, because he's just like, we have to be serious for the gospel of Jesus.
The gospel of Jesus Christ.
Jesus is coming back.
Jesus is coming back.
No laughing.
We must be saved in this
Everybody's
house.
going to
And then I get in the car and I'd be like, Amelia. Man, hey, look, if you buck, boy. And I get back home, we're living for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
And I would just be like, oh, here we go. He intense. Friend, he intense.
I've been a cop, man. I play Nugget If You Buck in a heartbeat, bro. You kidding me?
You get in the house, start preaching.
Bruh, get in the house and be like, we live for Jesus Christ in this house.
None of that music.
We pastor the people. We lead them to glory.
Seriously, I would be like,
it was
sir.
just crap.
So how did y'all navigate? It was some things too that I thought was very interesting. You said that Heather is not the type that want to clean up the house and do all that type of stuff. And how'd you navigate that?
The 80-20 rule.
Which is what?
Which is you take 100% of your responsibilities and you delegate the bottom 80% that you don't do well, and you focus on the 20%. And we realized, like, my wife loves to cook, but she will leave a kitchen like a tornado. The plate on social media looks
gorgeous. It's everything.
But I'd be looking, I'd be like, post that sink. Post the sink.
I've been posting the sink.
Post the sink. And then like in the beginning, she'd be like, because I'd be like, yo, like, more than anything, I love the food, but I would say, I'd be like, but I actually care that the dishes are clean. And she'd be like, so I did all of this, and why don't you go and wash the dishes? And I'm like, because I didn't make the mess. When I grew up, that when you cook, you clean up at the same time.
Yeah.
My baby didn't grow up that way because she didn't cook. She didn't cook growing up. She didn't learn how to cook till, a little bit later in life. But she's a good cook now. But she learned how to cook a little bit later.
Right,
she don't like to clean and stuff like that. Well, I mean, she cleans stuff now. But we learned to hire a maid. Honestly, it's more cost efficient for our family and for our time, because our time is money.
That part.
So, I like to make money.
Yeah, and I would rather, the same way where we hire a nanny, we hire a maid, we had a house manager, we hire all this stuff. The same way I do it for her, the same way I did it for me. I don't like taking out trash. So we hire a house manager to come and he takes out the trash. He makes sure the trash is out. If something breaks in the house, I don't have time to sit down and put together like my wife buys the kids a motorcycle or something and come all these pieces. I'm not doing that. I'll pay somebody $20 an hour to come to the house and they put it together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, because I have other things.
Yeah, we'll
I have to do.
outsource real quick.
Yeah. We'll outsource.
So it wasn't,
it was a problem in the beginning because I grew up in the house. We didn't have maids. I saw my mom do everything.
Yep.
And he thought I was going to do everything. I was like, you ain't going to put me in the ground. Absolutely not.
And then what my mom didn't do, she outsourced to us. She was like, you better wash the dishes when you get home. And I'm like, I don't want to wash the dishes. You better make sure the kitchen is clean.
What your mom do? Outsource it to y'all?
Yeah, she outsourced it to us. I'm like, but ain't that your job? But now we learn how to outsource what we do. And it makes our household so much easier. Now, it costs us money in the beginning because we really couldn't afford it. But then once we did it over a period of time, it freed us up to be more creative to make more money.
Absolutely.
I feel like the longer you stay married, then you just stop caring. You just literally stop caring.
15 years for us this year.
It's 15 years for us this August.
Congratulations.
But we just don't care about the stuff we cared about. Like, we literally don't care. If he's like, hey, I want to do this. Like the other day, we've had so much going on. He's like, babe, you need a girls trip. Like, you've had so much going on. You have a lot on your plate. Like, go plan a trip with your girls and just go. You just need to not think.
She's like, but what about you? What about the kids?
I was like, well, who's going to cook?
The kids are easy with me. My kids, when I'm around, they don't bother me at all.
Mine want 3-course meals with me.
I don't make 3-course meals.
And I make it. And I played it perfectly.
She be like cooking the grape. Like she cleaned the grapes with fruit cleaner. I ain't know fruit cleaner existed until I met her. Fruit cleaner. Because she had to clean the film and stuff off of the fruit. But she clean them and then she'll put them in like a little thing and then she'll make the rice, veggie rice with a little heart shape. Yeah. If I make my son veggie rice, bro, he better be glad he got a plate. I almost had him to steal it.
Remember what Roman said? He was like, you don't make it fancy?
I sure don't.
And he was like, no, I make it unfancy.
I make it this how daddy make it. He'd be like, all right, whatever.
I just want it to be an experience every time they eat.
Heart-shaped rice.
Heart-shaped. Everything has to be an experience. Plated perfectly because food should be an experience, right? So I do all this. I make the 3 courses for the kids. And then...
She said 3 courses.
3 courses,
I do.
Really?
3 courses. lunches.
I do. And then when I travel, I call like, I'm so nervous because in the morning I wake up super early to go down and make all their lunches, make their breakfast. I want everything to be pretty and perfect. I call him like, oh my gosh, are you doing okay, babe? He's like, oh, it's easy. The kids made their lunches and breakfast. I was like,
I come downstairs. I'm like, hey, y'all, we got 5 minutes when we leave the house. And Taylor's like, Dad, I already made breakfast. I made ramen, some pancakes. Logan's like, Dad, I just scrambled some eggs. All right, bro, we got 5 minutes. I'll be out the house. Let me grab my gym bag.
They never do that with me, ever. Like, Logan's probably messaging me right now about food. Help me figure out my food for today, Mom.
He probably is. He ain't gonna message me because
the first thing that men do with our kids is make them self-sufficient.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to have a dad in the house, because if not, they would be like, my kids would have no survival skills. They'd be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. My mom's going to do it. My son would come in a heartbeat with a water bottle and be like, Dad, will you open it? No, I won't. Figure it out.
No, I won't. But people ask me like, you have your nephew who I adopted, Laterras. He's 16. And they say, well, how do you go and do events and he's at home? Who stays at home with him? I said, him.
He's 16?
He's 16. I said, he live across the street from the school. He was like, but who takes care of it? I said, him. I don't go fix this boy food every time he get ready to eat. This boy about to go to college next year. Funny. I was like, you better learn how to take care of yourself. But I learned that at a young age. When I was 8 years old and 9 years old, we were self-sufficient. Mom was out the house. Dad was out the house working or do whatever. We had to take care of ourselves. Yeah. And it's like, what happens is that, just like Cornelius said, these kids nowadays aren't learning survival skills.
And they're anxious.
Yeah, they're very anxious. They malfunction with any level of criticism, and it's like, no, teach you to have some toughness or something, because we're not doing our generation right. And so 10 year, I don't like you. Y'all evolved, allowed each other to come into, actually, Cornelius, you was hiding your true identity from your wife from all this time, huh? Because when did you evolve to listen? Because when you were, the armor bearer, the pastor assistant, and when you were in ministry, was you still listening to secular music?
Yeah, I was.
And people, I actually got a message from somebody like, your husband pretended to get you. How do you feel about that? And I was just like, girl, but see, think about it. We're all going to grow. We're all going to evolve. Yeah. Like, it's okay. If that's who my husband is and he wants to listen to his music, then it's fine.
And she's probably single.
So there he goes.
Oh my gosh.
It's true. It's really true.
Okay, babe.
It's true. I just say stuff that's true and people get mad.
Did you pretend to get her?
I felt like I was being who I needed to be. And I felt like I was, I believed it.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing.
We very much believed who we were.
Because, can I be honest?
Absolutely.
Church culture is all about behavior modification. We're not teaching true transformation. It's just behavior modification. We just teach people how to dress. Don't dress this way, dress that way. Don't do this, do that. Don't, you can, it's just behavior modification. So I was practicing what I was taught. The only thing that brings true freedom and true transformation that I've learned is authenticity. That's why we will say it from the thing. God wants you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. We'll say that, but we don't mean that.
Teach.
Because once you encounter authenticity, now your panties are up in a wad, because now you shocked that somebody's saying something that's true that you don't like.
That part.
And so, when my wife, when people say stuff like that, he pretended. Nigga, we all pretending.
Yeah,
we all got this sense of pretentiousness, because it's all about behavior modification. And people get upset now because I'm not willing to practice behavior modification anymore. You take me as I am. I am the same way. I still preach. When I preach at churches, I'm the same way on the stage that I am right now on this couch.
Yep.
If you don't like it, tough cookies. But I believed it. That's what I was taught. I was taught behavior modification. And it was also what was modeled around me.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was around the big name preachers.
Yep.
And I heard on the stage, I would hear a series on love. And then I would go in the green room, and there was none in the green room.
Mm.
I would hear that you should listen to secular music. And then I would go somewhere else and I would hear the music being played in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I was modeling what I saw.
Yeah.
It was just behavior modification. And so, it is what it is.
I feel like there's a lot of deliverance in church, but not a lot of discipline afterward. So if you're coming up for deliverance or healing from diabetes, like, all right, I'm going to lay hands on you and believe that you're healed. But what changes are you going to make? Are you going to start working out?
No.
Are you going to put the donut down? No. Are you going to rewire your brain and go on a sugar fast? Like there needs to be a part to play with your deliverance.
Be bigger
right?
next year than you were this year.
All right.
Cornelius.
All right, baby. All right.
But if we were more honest with each other, bro. Yeah. Honestly, if we were more honest with each other.
Oh God.
But we don't want to be. Yeah. We don't want to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to point fingers and be like, well, yeah, he was trying to pretend. We all are. Because if I could be even in my authenticity, it is so dangerous to be this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you will be hated for it.
Absolutely.
And I get that. I've had a lot of people who have turned their who have turned their backs on me, churches that they've told me I will never step foot again to preach at their churches, communities that I have been excommunicated from because this is who I am now. And the crazy thing is that these were the same guys who I saw get drunk next to me. But the fact that I show it is a problem. The fact that I ask questions about my faith is a problem to them because I've always learned that a cult keeps you from asking questions. That's why I tell people we call church today is straight up thuggery. It's thugs that lead it. They push people out. They bury the wounded, and we're not supposed to talk about it.
That part.
And then now you have to discredit me to make me sound like I'm crazy. When here's the thing, people around can see it. That's why people aren't trying to go into the church, because they can see it. But I'm crazy because I bring it up. But with my wife, I look at her and I want her to change.
But then the crazy thing is, these people that will excommunicate him will come back around and be in his DMs like, man, I'm jealous that you're so authentic and so real. I want to leave my church, but I have 100,000 members and I can't, and I hate it, and I'm drowning, and I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And it's just, they're like, I'm jealous of your authenticity.
I have a pastor right now who has confessed that, and he, big name, that he has confessed that he no longer believes in God.
But he preaches every Sunday.
I asked him, I said, so what keeps you from preaching? He said, Cornelius, this is just a gig.
Like, woo.
And then, I hear people say, you need to expose him. You need to expose him. No. The purpose of relationship is the fact that he had enough respect with me. That part. Because he knows that I'm a safe. Yeah. And so behind the scenes, I can converse with him about things that you will never know about.
Absolutely.
And you just keep being blessed by the words you hear and by the Insta stories you get and by the reels you get. You just keep going, because behind the scenes is some greater work that's been doing that you don't have any business knowing. Why? Because you're too immature to understand it, which is why he can't tell you.
I was about to say, you don't have the maturity to even handle it. My pastor told me something really profound. He said, because I'm extremely transparent. I tell everything. And so even he gave me wisdom about even sharing about my abstinence journey. I'm abstinent now. But even when I would tell people when I'll be successful for a period of time and then fall off, and then people create content, Laterras said this, and how's this? And they'll just take my transparency and create content, get more views they've ever had on their channel based on what I'm saying, and then they're criticizing it. My pastor said, I want you to grow privately and heal publicly. And
I love it.
And so I was like, I get it, because I kept doing it all in the same thing. I was growing and healing publicly. Yeah. He's like, no, everybody's not on the maturity level to handle the level of transparency that you are. He says, so in this area, when it comes to your abstinence journey, I want you to grow. I want you to grow privately in that. And then you heal publicly. You tell people, hey, and this is what, after you get through it, and after you come through it, hey, this is what God did for me over the last 2 years or whatever. But don't take people on that journey. The wisest thing he ever told me.
I feel like we had to do that with social media. We were so open on social. We shared everything. Yeah. And then after that 10-year mark, we made a switch on social. We stopped sharing as much. We stopped posting each other as much. We started really working and doing the inner work on ourselves individually and together. Our marriage is better now than it's ever been, ever. And it's just like we're doing the work. And social media wouldn't even know. Actually, he gets messages. But I don't get them as much. But I heard you guys are divorced. I heard you guys never got married.
We never got married. That our kids
never got married. We never got married, and it's all a facade.
It's all a facade.
I know. I was like, that's a long time to never be married.
People don't. They just.
But
you look at some people,
we hear so many rumors like we're divorced. We're like, actually, we're not. We just don't put our business out online as much because we don't care about your opinion. We don't need to prove our marriage to you. We're happy. We're good. We're raising our family together.
Some say y'all are divorced, and you said other people said you should get a divorce.
Isn't
that crazy? Trying to break up my family.
And then here's the crazy thing: if she did divorce, they'd be the first people in my inbox. Hey, Cornelius, I'm so sad.
Hey, big head. Hey, big head.
Hey, big head.
This morning he got hit on somebody at the gym at the hotel.
What they say to you,
and then
Cornelius?
she realized who he was.
She was like, she came up and I was working out. She was like, "Hey, I don't mean to bother you, but like, do you train people?" And I was like, No, I don't do that. And she was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I mean, what did she say?"
She said, "You so big."
Oh yeah, she was like, so I don't know why you working out so hard. She said, "You already look good." And I was like, "Yeah, my wife upstairs, and like I came out here to work out. We're gonna go do something real quick." And she was like, "Cornelius." And I said, "Yo, don't be yelling my government name like that out in public." She was like, "Oh my God." She was like, you don't live in Dallas? What are you doing here? I was like, obviously you don't live here either. We both in a hotel. She was like, "Oh my God. I was in Atlanta. I was going to your church and I was so sad because I had to move, but I still watched it. And like, but now I'm back in Atlanta, but I had to come here for something." She's like, "So what?" She's like, "Please tell me you preaching at a church." And I was like, No, I'm not. She's like, "What you doing in Dallas?" Like, "I got the thing I'm doing today." And she was like, "Well, what else is in Dallas? What else in Dallas?" She was like, "Dear Future Wifey, Dear Future Wifey." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "We're doing." She was like, "Oh my God." So I went to the other side of the gym and I was doing like my burpees and stuff. And she came over with FaceTime and she was like, "Girl, here we go." And the girl was like, "Oh my God. See, like, I'm sorry. I know you sweating and stuff. Go, boy, go. I be seeing you online." She like, "You doing it?" And she was like, "I just got to tell you, your book, Suffering in Silence, saved my life. Your book, Decoding the Silent Man's Language, like helped me with my boyfriend."
Language.
So I almost broke up with him. I read that book. She was like, I would have messed up on a great husband and a great father. She was like, "Thank you for helping my marriage." She's like, "It really helped me so much." She's like, "I love your authenticity." She's like, "Please don't stop being you."
That part.
She was like, "Because it is helping me because I feel like you and we get along." And I'm like, "Yeah, girl. Like I took pre-workout. Like I got my skin tingling. You need to wrap this up." But yeah, that happened this morning.
Skin tingling.
So funny.
That crack cocaine. You like, I need to do burpees to get it out.
Pre-workout. So how does that feel to know that far? Y'all took attacks. Y'all took stones. Y'all took a lot of stuff. And the hardest thing, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't recognize it until I got on this side of it from, the attacks that people can just assume about you and never even have a conversation with you.
Never.
And they'll just make up stuff. You'd be like, so now I find it humorous. At first it used to hurt me a little bit. And then I'd be like, "Y'all don't even know me." But at first I'd be like, "Why are they saying this? This is not what I said," Because especially when you're as transparent and vulnerable as I am, then I say, "I done told you everything. You don't need to go add nothing to it. I done said what I need to say." But how do y'all feel being a part of ministry, which is a servant's position to serve people that will yell, "Crucify, crucify"? How do you feel now relocating, y'all in California now, having a whole new life, but still tethered to ministry? Y'all still haven't walked away from ministry full time. Fully. You still, like you said, you still preach. Heather, you still minister in your unique way. You actually still preach, right?
Yeah, I still preach too.
Yeah, so y'all still in ministry. Yeah. So this is Be Powerful. Why do y'all still do ministry?
You go first, baby.
I still do it because it's still my calling. It's still my purpose of what God has called me to do. It's in me. I literally preach in the shower. Like I'll never be able to take it out. Right. So in my stock group, I have a company called The Busy Trader. I do what's called pep talks, and people will be in there crying. and I relate, the sermons to, or the pep talks about business. And mind you, I have so many people that aren't even saved in there, and they get saved and they're so encouraged. And it's like, no matter where I go or what I do, Jesus is with me, and it's going to be a full-time ministry. Wherever God sends you is your full-time ministry. And I'll never stop preaching. You have to look at it like LeBron. I love LeBron. That's my boy. Yeah. And so many people have things to say about him and Bronny and his family, but I'm going to need you to put on a jersey and get in the game, because you're doing a lot of talking in the stands. But come holler at me at those 6 a.m. workouts, those 4 a.m. I can't speak on him or his journey because I'm not in his shoes.
That part.
And I feel like we've been in the game for so long, and we're so used to people from the stands throwing stuff at us, but it never stops us. We still getting championships. We still doing what we got to do, and God is still blessing us. Literally, no weapon formed against us will prosper. I feel like we have lived it over and over again, and I just feel like I'll never stop until the day I die.
And for me, I know that. Oh, sorry.
You've seen all the stuff. You've seen ministry behind the curtains. You've been on the pulpit. You've been seeing everything. You've been attacked, accused that you done stole money from a church that you wasn't even getting paid for 7 years.
Don't get me
working
started.
I know, because Heather gonna snap on this one. And you're sacrificing. And what I know a lot too about ministries, when someone is starting up a church, a lot of your personal finances go into keeping that church afloat. See, people ain't gonna talk about all that part. But you've experienced all that. You've seen pastors who want to give up in ministry. You're privately coaching people to keep the faith and serve the Lord with gladness. And you still do ministry. Why?
Because my heart breaks for the outcast, for the black sheep, for the person that's done with traditional church, for the person that was told that their unplanned pregnancy meant that God didn't love them. For the person that that's tired of pretending. And I've just made up in my mind that I don't mind being the one that you shoot arrows at, because obviously God made me strong enough to take them. And I look back now and I thank God for all of my enemies, because it was every attack of my enemies that made me stronger. And if I didn't have them, I work out every day. And the only way that I know I'm stronger is if I can lift weight that I wasn't capable of lifting before. And every attack seems to get tougher and tougher. The last one that we had in 2020, I felt like, I remember sitting in it.
That was crazy.
And I remember being like, there's so many things that I want to say, so many things I want to do. And I forget, the whole time the Lord was like, this needs to teach you something. And it made me better. It caused for me to go after authenticity more and transparency more. And here's the thing. I know how God made me. I'm apostolic in the form that I am a builder and a destroyer. And in order for you to build something of a great magnitude, you have to be a catalyst of change against the current thing. And you best believe the thuggery of this current church world is, it will come at you. It's so demonic. It will come at you in the worst way, because I know that if my Jesus was walking around today, he would not be allowed in most of these churches that we have now.
It's like, that's why Jesus hung out with the outcast. He never went into the temple.
And people listen to my wife say that, and they'll say, well, he didn't hang out with them. He was ministering to them. When you walk with somebody, if me and you out there walking, it's a part of hanging out, because it was something about their humanity that he was after. That's the reason why when Jesus came, he didn't go to the synagogue looking for disciples, because he knew that their self-righteousness already kept them from him. It's something about going to stinky, smelly fishermen, because all they knew was fish, and he knew that I can do something with them that I can't do with them. And I'm after the fisherman. I'm after the tax collector. I'm after the doctor. I'm after the person that is not baptized and flooded with so much theology and so much information that they've lost sense of humanity. They can't smell and touch grass anymore. Because here's the thing, all those the pastors who push me to the side, cast me out, that kind of stuff, they'll be in my inbox because their wife found out that they were cheating. Mm-hmm. They'll be in my inbox because something found out that they were watching porn or something like that. And now they want to come sit at my table. So I tell them, you may not like me now, but the day's going to come where the invitation I gave you to sit at my table, you'll gladly accept it because now you'll see your own humanity for what it is. And that's what I'm after. So I'll gladly accept the same way that my Savior did for me.
Amen.
My compassion lets me know I will gladly accept your stones. I will gladly accept your arrows. I will gladly accept them because they can't hurt. They only make me stronger. I competed in my first body physique competition last December. I know what my discipline can do. I'm training now for a high rocks competition. I'm 38 years old, bro. I am doing better now, physically, mentally, and everything else than I was 20 years ago. It makes me better.
Oh,
and I'm after those people.
That's why you be working out 3 hours a day and stuff.
Oh yeah, I compete, bro. I gotta find a new challenge because life gets boring to me. Life gets boring to me. I'm not one of them dudes like, I can just go golfing every week and be fine. No, I gotta compete. I gotta have a challenge, something that pushes me to my limit because that's what makes me better. I'm addicted. I am addicted, Laterras. I'm addicted to being better. So I take my imperfections because I got a ton of them. I take my imperfections and I take my addiction to discipline. And that combination is deadly because one thing, you may not like me, but one thing, Negro, you got to do is you got to respect me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And your disrespect, I can't handle. And that's when you really see me and you don't want that, bro. That's the best. That's it. That's why I do. And I love what I do. I still love preaching. I still love helping people. Like it's amazing
because we love people, but I truly can say that we feel free from them. Like truly, in the past, I'd be like, yeah, I'm free from people, but I feel like you go through the fire, you'll really be free from people, their thoughts, their arrows, because no one's ever going to be satisfied.
Absolutely.
And hindsight is always 20/20. Think about when you get older, you told your parents how they should have parented, and
and you faced with the same thing.
Right, you faced with the same thing. Everybody's an expert looking in the past.
Absolutely.
But now when we stand up and we can say your words and your attacks will never stop me.
That's good.
So it makes you free.
Here's the other thing. People can relate with this. I was in the gym working out the other day and this hit me like a ton of bricks. Nobody will ever hate me as much as I've hated myself. And if I can overcome my own self-hatred, this spirit in the dirt suit will never be able to say anything to me.
That's all you got.
I be looking at people like, y'all talk a great game, but
if somebody said something crazy to me in my stock group, and I don't get a lot of it much, but somebody said something crazy and I said, you don't understand, you can't hurt me, I've been in ministry. We have handed a car to a person, a family, and they turned around and trashed us online. Gave them a car. I was like, run that car back, it's been a month, run that car back, baby, since we sold such horrible people, run it back.
What they say about you then?
Oh my God, I mean, you
I don't even remember. I don't even remember, but they were just dragging us.
After you gave a whole
car.
We made down payments on people's houses. We put people in apartments who are homeless.
Paid for families' funerals.
I pay so much money at family funerals, which is why I'm so big with life insurance now. I'm a life insurance brokerage. I have a brokerage because I'm so big with that now because most black folks in church don't got insurance. Yep. So you come to the church, you won't give to the church, but then you get upset because the church ain't got money to pay for your mama to put her in the ground.
Yep.
Because now funerals are very expensive.
Yep.
And now mama left you dead. So now you're trying to get out of mama's debt and your debt. And so, bro, we help so many, and that's the part that really got me. I had to really take some time in 2020, like to stand back.
Yeah,
it's crazy because like when everything started to happen, bro, pandemic, everything. The first thing I did 75 hard. I listened to David Goggins. That's the first thing I did. Every single day I would go out for a 45-minute run, and I have David Goggins playing. He was like my pastor for a while. He was cussing and everything, and I was like, yeah, bro, I need all this. He was like, you're gonna mental toughness, and you got to callous your mind, and you got to do this, you got to do that, because I couldn't in that time. I'm sorry, but like, Jake's, Duplantis, like I couldn't listen to any of that.
Yeah, I
couldn't. It's great for what it is. I'm not knocking any of it, but I couldn't listen. I needed something that was going to like hit my soul. But yeah, man, I still love people. I don't like a lot of them, but I still love them.
I love people. I just have a lot more boundaries with them because I feel like the old version of me had no boundaries.
That's good.
And I just wanted to help everybody. And I thought people, I always felt like if you love people, they'll love you back well.
Yep.
And we got burned so many times by people, and it's just like, oh, wow. But now I'm thankful. I'm like, God, you revealed who this person was, and they're not my person. They're not my friend.
That part.
And it's hard and it's painful, but I have to accept that you separated me from this person for a reason. And I don't understand it, but I accept it.
And I also started AA. I started AA the day after I found out about my dad. And Alcoholics Anonymous really helped me to begin to see authenticity. It helped me to begin to see changes with myself, to see not only how people have hurt me, but how I've also hurt other people. And to take accountability for that. And like, that's why I'm not afraid to be like, yo, some things that I said in the past, I cringe over it.
Yeah.
But I could take accountability for that. Like AA, being in a group with other men who are so vulnerable and so real, like that helped me to be like, yo, see, like you haven't been the best husband. You haven't been the best father. Like you haven't been the best friend. You weren't the best pastor. You weren't the best sis. Like it's not everybody else, bro. You need to look at you.
Yep.
That part.
And when you take a step back to start looking at yourself, people are like, oh, why you quiet? Because nigga, because I need to self-reflect. I need to introspect.
Yeah.
And
so that's what Celebrate Recovery was for me. I went through CR, and it opened me up. You're hearing other people for the first time be vulnerable, and men sharing what they've done and all this. And I was looking at myself like I was just the worst thing walking the face of this earth. And then you talk to other people, you like, well, I don't seem so bad after all these people here. Jesus, I didn't do all that.
Like, how many cars did you wreck as a drunk? 6. And how you have a license? Like I'd be like, okay, don't judge.
I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, I cheated on my wife, whatever. And the other guy, I was sleeping with prostitutes. Prostitutes, you doing what? Don't judge. Don't judge.
Like, I was the CEO of the company, and I was inviting prostitutes on my jet.
God, no. Hey, but you still got that jet, though?
Tell me, let me pull up. And so it showed you that people can walk around with such facades. Mm-hmm. And then when people peel back that curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, and you look and go, man, you got this big voice and all this, but you just an insecure man back here. Man, and we all deal with insecurities. Yeah. And that's what gave me the foundation, the courage, the power, the authority to sit on this podcast and say, here's my scars. Yeah. At what point, before we wrap up, at what point did alcoholism become a vice in your life?
I was starting to drink heavier when they went to sleep.
So you never saw it?
Oh, no, we never saw it. I never saw him drinking. Never.
I mean, she would see me drink on the plane and stuff like that. Yeah. But she'd see me drinking on the plane, and like when I went on my men's trips, I would drink and stuff like that. But it was when they went to sleep. Like she would go to sleep. My wife's a heavy sleeper. And when she would go to sleep, it gets bad when you can take out a whole bottle of Crown Royal.
In one night?
A whole bottle, bro. And it was just like, I recognized this is going to be a problem, because right after my mom told me, the first thing I thought about was, I'm going to get a drink, Oh,
so when you found out that the man who you grew up believing was your father was no longer your father, that exasperated you. Were you drinking before that?
I was drinking before that. It was the day after that where I was like, I actually talked to one of my guys, Brian, amazing. He was the one who was like, you need to look at your life, evaluate it. And he said, if you got anything, because I have a very addictive personality, personality. He said, if there's anything, he said, nip it in the bud now. And so I knew alcohol was that thing. But I remember saying to him, I said to him what all alcoholics say, because I'm an alcoholic. That's the one thing you learn in Anonymous. But what all alcoholics say, it's not that bad. And what I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous is we usually assume that in order for it to be an addiction, it has to be off the radar, you just getting pissy drunk every day. Yeah. But the fact that when you recognize that I have the drink to cover up something else, that makes you an alcoholic. So I reached out to my sponsor. He got me a Zoom class, and I went to the Zoom. I would go to the Zoom class every Thursday. And I knew I needed that for me. And that class started to change some stuff in me, started making me a better person. I think you could relate with that.
Yeah, I was confused because he said he's going to AA, and I was like, isn't that for alcohol? I just didn't see you drink like that. And then when he explained, he said, you can't measure an alcoholic. If I was going to this thing and I saw that it was going to be a problem. I'm trying to nip it. And when he said that, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. That's amazing. But then he began to share pretty much the steps. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's the gospel.
At the time, it's the gospel, one. And then two, I was coaching people with trading stocks. I would use that because they would overtrade and they became addicted to trading. And I was like, oh, the first step is like, you don't have the power to overcome it. And I tell them, you don't have the power to overcome, the greed that comes with trading if you're not careful. So I began to use the steps to help more people. So it definitely helped.
And so you said you saw it as a problem when you said the fact that you were hiding it, or the fact you could take a bottle of Crown Royal down in one setting? Because
I knew it was something I was going to run to, and I grew up around it as a kid. Yeah. I grew up around alcohol. I mean, my it wasn't my mom's side; it was more my dad's side. But my grandmother in Mississippi, my great grandmother, she owned the Hole in the Wall, and that's where, if you don't know the Hole in the Wall, if you ain't country, that's where it's a little house shack.
Yeah, you saw that in Color Purple.
They sold liquor. Yeah, and everybody would come through there, get drunk, play on the jukebox. I didn't grow up on Biggie and Tupac and all that. I grew up on like old school, like Johnny Mathis and stuff like that. I grew up on blues, so it's like I watched it, and it was just little bitty things that I promised Brian, my guy. I told him, I was like, I'll give it a shot. He was the one who mentioned it. Because at first I was like, I didn't feel like I needed it. I feel like, I'm good. I'm fine. I'll be okay. But he was like, if this is a thing that is an issue, he's like, you need to reach out and you need to join. And then I reached out because I had the same feeling she did. I'm like, I don't really feel like I had a problem.
So when you say you grew up around it, were you in one of those families where they gave you your first drink when you was younger?
They tried to.
And you rejected it?
Yeah, I didn't take it.
Why not?
Because I saw what it did to my dad. I mean, I have more memories of him being drunk than I have him being sober. I saw what it did. I saw the accidents that he was in. I saw what happened with most of the people who were around me. I saw my cousins getting drunk. I saw people getting drunk. And I was just like, you know what? I don't want that. So I didn't want that, and I didn't want to smoke cigarettes. And, the only reason why I was like, I would choose to do a cigar because you didn't inhale it. And I love cigars because it calms me. Like, cigars for me is like for calmness and community. I can sit down with somebody for an hour and just smoke a cig, and it's just like, we can just chill, because you got to really focus on your breathing when you smoke a cigar. Cigarettes, it's just you puff, just huffing and puffing.
What do you mean you got to focus on your breathing? Explain.
Because you don't, because if you inhale it, you throwing up. Yeah, it's like you really got to take it in.
Bring it in and
Oh, you said if you inhale it, you will throw up.
Oh yeah, you get sick because you don't inhale cigarette smoke. You inhale it. Weed, stuff like that, you inhale it. You take it in. But like cigar, it's like you're drawing it. You draw it, but you don't take it inside your body. You just hold it and release it. So you get the taste of the cigar. It's almost like mouthwash. You put it in your mouth, you don't swallow it.
Yeah, you spit on that.
You still taste it and you just spit it out.
Who was that preacher who said
Leonard Ravenhill.
Yeah. After every sermon, he said he would smoke a cigar to the glory of God. Leonard Ravenhill.
White people can say that. Black people can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I say that, it'd be like, see, if I tell you, he ain't say. White people say, they're like, that's Leonard so true, Pastor.
Was like the greatest revivalist of his generation. I started doing research after I saw him smoke one, and I was like, let me do some research because I wasn't sure. I didn't know. He said after every sermon, he smoked a cigar to the glory of God, and church people were mad at him. But they kept on coming. But he said it calmed him too.
It calms you. It does. It calms you.
Your nervous system.
It calms your nervous system. But it's great for community. You sit there and you sit there and man, I'll start noticing things. I'll start noticing the birds, the sky, and I'm just chilling. I'm sitting there with my homies, and it's just, we could be silent, and it's just like, whew, it's great. But I knew with alcohol, I knew I needed something different. And when I went to AA,
and you just cut alcohol out altogether.
Yeah, I haven't had a drink of alcohol since August 26th, 2022. 23.
Yeah. 22. We found out in 22.
Yeah, 2022.
And you had no idea.
Oh my gosh, no. I mean, like I said, he never drank, and he wasn't buying drinks. He wasn't buying alcohol and keep it in the house. Like we had.
I had it in the house. She just didn't see it.
I just didn't. Right. I didn't see it, but I never saw him drink. Like I might see him on a plane get something, and with business class get something.
But did that surprise you? If y'all
in the beginning, she'd be like, "Babe, you don't," because then we would have flight attendants who went to our church.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, "Yeah, what kind of wine you got?" And they'd be like, "PC, I don't know, what kind of wine you want?" I'd be like, "Oh."
And I was like, we don't want anybody to stumble.
PC, right? PC, what you want?
PC, what you want? I'm like, "Oh God, no."
He'd be like, "I'll take ginger ale."
Jesus. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. Like, baby girl, don't give me nothing dark. Give me something white. Just give me something white. So, white you can hide. Dark you can't.
I have the personality where I can see where a pattern can take you.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm always looking for patterns.
Absolutely.
So if he showed me that, I would have immediately been like, hey, let's do this. Let's do that. We have a checklist. He knows I would go into self-sufficiency and come up with an entire plan to give him breakthrough. So
to give me breakthrough.
Isn't that crazy? Control.
Just women. Control.
1,000%.
Control.
Give me breakthrough.
Okay. Not all women. Now, come on now. But that's the old
curse.
me. It is. It's the curse of Eve, right?
Control.
Our desire will be to control our husband.
And yourself.
That's Genesis. That's Bible.
And everything.
But he knew to almost keep it from me because I would come up with an entire marketing plan to get him out of this. You know what I mean? So when he told me, I was confused. But
she's like, you don't even drink.
I was like, you don't even drink.
I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't drink. Here we go. Okay.
But you know what? Low key, I should have been in AA for my shopping addiction.
Oh, you have a shopping addiction?
Yeah, I used to shop.
Okay,
but I wouldn't tell him. I would just go shop and go buy a bag.
She didn't have to tell me.
You can see it?
Absolutely.
I got a new Louis bag, Chanel bag. Like I would just ball out and buy
I'm like,
stuff.
yo, where you get them shoes from? She was like, oh, so I ordered these like
forever ago.
3 months ago. I'm like, oh, those are
do I still have the shopping addiction, baby? What do you think?
Did she still have shopping addiction?
No, I mean, no, she doesn't.
I don't care.
Yeah, she doesn't.
No, I'll buy
we
stocks
don't even
all
buy
day.
stuff
We don't
like
buy
that
stuff.
anymore,
We don't
bro.
care.
We used to be big with that stuff, but like
we don't care.
Like now, this right here is dressing up for me. Everywhere I go, bro, I like to wear gym clothes. I never know when a burpee contest might break out.
Oh my gosh.
I like gym clothes, bro, and I like gym clothes is on sale. Like give me some.
Cornelius, how you gonna say you never know when a burpee contest?
A burpee contest, bro. I will wear a tank top every day if I could.
And like as soon as we finish, I can't wait to put my hoodie on and go eat. Like it just.
So does that annoy you that he dresses like that, where he just be having like a tank top or whatever?
Oh no, I like looking at his muscles and stuff.
Come on, now I work hard for this. You kidding me?
Seriously,
I need titties out.
No, I feel like you know what I love the most when I walk in from picking up the kids on Wednesday and he has his shirt off and he's in there cooking. I be like, yep, and I just record. I'm like, I'm gonna look back at this later. But like muscles everywhere. I love it. I'd be like, keep doing that.
You know how hard I work for this?
But she may be like, I want to go to nice restaurants. I don't want you just walking around dressed like that.
I'll dress like this.
No, we don't care about nice restaurants. We don't we want to be comfortable.
And plus, we go for lunch because lunch is cheaper and there's not a lot of people there.
Yeah,
it is. We do because
we got kids
because our schedule allows for us to. Our kids are in school, so we don't need a nanny. Our schedule allows for us to do whatever we want to do, so we go to lunch.
Yeah.
Well, on Fridays or date days, we don't do it. We haven't done a date night ever.
In a long time.
But we do date days. It's cheaper because you buy them lunch. It may be a smaller portion, but it don't matter. I just buy advertising.
Right, hold on, I keep wanting to wrap it up, but this is so good. So if you've been so cheap or frugal or economically, financially economical, how did you deal with her with this Chanel?
Just let her be herself.
You've always been like that, though.
No.
Heather, come on now.
Hold on. Let me tell a story. Let me tell a story.
If you're talking about matinees
hold on.
And lunch.
In the beginning, now he don't care. He hasn't cared for years. Let me just put that out there. But when we first got married, first started dating, he told me, he was like, yeah, you're not going to be buying bags like that when we get married. So on my lunch break on Wall Street, I walked over to the Louis store and I bought 3 or 4 bags that day. And then I walked over to Chanel and I bought a bag that day.
No, you didn't.
I did because plan ahead, right?
You
I'm always
4?
planning. I did. I walked back into my office with all these Louis bags and Chanel bags. And my boss was like, what are you doing? I was like, just a little midday shopping, ma'am. Because I figured, I was like, if he's going to give me a tough time about buying bags, I don't want to hear his mouth. right? I don't want to hear his mouth. So I'm going to plan ahead and have enough bags to hold me over for a few years until he chills out. So I did, didn't I? And I told you about it later.
What does a lion do when it takes over pride? It goes around and it
kills the babies.
It kills the babies and it marks its territory. I was just saying that to be like, I'm just setting the territory. We ain't gonna be doing all of this because, you know, we don't need that. And I wasn't even in that world. I didn't even know about Gucci and Louis and stuff like that until I got around Dr. Dollar. I had no idea about it.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. That's why she was like, I wore Aeropostale and stuff. I wore what was cheap.
Yeah.
I will buy. I'm a clearance rack shopper. Because here's my thing now. I look so good with my clothes off that I don't really need clothes to make me look better.
Come on, baby.
Like these jeans right here, bro. I got these jeans from Ace Hardware store for $12, homie. Ace Hardware, bro. They was on the clearance rack, and I put them on. I was like, they got a hardware. You supposed to put a tape measure right there, homie. I don't care. I don't need to wear Gucci, but I take this shirt off, bro. That is Gucci. You know what I'm talking about, bro? I don't need like for Christmas. Last Christmas, my wife bought me a Louis Vuitton wallet.
I did.
And I was like, we can take it back. Because I just bought one on Amazon for $60.
He's so proud of it.
I'm so proud of it. I love it because it works. You know, it works. The Louis wallet is supposed to stick to my phone. It kept falling off. And I was like, this is stupid.
I just felt bad because like I bought for Christmas, we bought really pretty much mom got Logan and all the other kids, like, you know, some designer stuff. Now, mind you, I don't care. I like stuff that lasts, right? Like these are Louboutin, but you know how many years? I bought these in 2025 or 2015, right?
2025 just this year.
2015, I know, right? 2015. But no, I don't buy stuff like that. I just buy stuff that lasts a long time and I can pass it on to my kids.
I never wore sitting in my closet right now. Just
what size are they so you can send them to me?
45.
Yeah, if they're your size.
If they're your size, I can definitely send them to you, bro. They like a tan camel
with like the red bottoms,
and they got the red bottom.
Yeah.
I even got the little thing because back then I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear these. But even with men, we wear red bottoms for what? Like women can wear them because y'all got a heel on them. You can see the back of them. Men, you got to see. We got to walk like this.
I'm gonna be on my podcast like this. I'm gonna be like this on my podcast. I'm gonna do like this.
Well, this is what we believe with relationships.
They be like, you got on red bottom
for the blood of Jesus, you know.
Stupid.
If Jesus will do it.
Stupid. But we don't care about any of that stuff. Like, we don't care about the designer stuff. I do like a cute bag, but now I'll trade for it. If I really want a nice bag, like I'll be like, hey babe, I'm gonna trade for this bag. But
I spend my money on gym memberships.
We don't care. We don't care.
I got 3 gym memberships.
None
That's my money on gym memberships. That's it.
But now Logan does care. Logan's a little bougie. He'd be like, I want that Louis bag. But Taylor doesn't care. Our daughter. She's
I just give him my old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wears all my old clothes.
Yeah.
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 I'm like, he thinks my clothes are so cool. And I'd be like, bro, you have no idea. That Honor to God shirt. I got that shirt as a gift on me, but glad you like it. Rock out.
Yeah.
Rock out with it.
Yeah, we don't care.
Listen, thank y'all so much for y'all transparency and vulnerability. When I say I enjoyed this, I got a headache from laughing so hard because Cornelius got problems. There's something wrong with him. He throw it off. But I love him because he is so real. Those are the type of people I like hanging around with, kicking it with, because truthfully speaking, that's what has scared so many people away from the church. Is they be like, y'all not real. Y'all not real. So real doesn't mean you have to be very polarizing with sinful thoughts and sinful behaviors. It's just saying that, hey, this is what I have in my life. This is what I struggle with. This is what I'm working on. I'm not justifying this. It's just saying that this is me. And I'm not telling you that you need to be this as well. I'm just saying this is me. Yeah. And that's what I love. Thank y'all so much for just showing up and being real. How can we support y'all? Y'all got anything going on that we can support? Basically help you pay for your gym membership.
Yeah, we have a marriage retreat coming up.
When is it?
December
I think it's like 4th through the 9th or something.
December. You can go to
what's the website?
www.sabbathfoundation.com/retreat.
Sabbathfoundation.com/retreat.
/retreat. And if you're a pastor out there, you're a pastor or ministry leader or business leader, and you're looking for a safe place to be able to come, I also host men's retreats. I'm doing one coming up in Wyoming. I got a couple more throughout the year, Montana, stuff like that. Just come around the table, have a good time.
What website? California. How can they connect?
SabbathFoundation.com.
The same thing.
And then we also have, we just started doing something here recently, Next Level. You want to explain something?
Sure. So pretty much, we had a pastor fly from the Midwest to our home in California, and I taught him how to trade stocks for 3 days. And I have a business called The Busy Traders with an S.com, and I teach people how to trade stocks in a simple way. It's actually stock options, and people are retiring, and it's mind blowing. It's incredible. It's literally, I teach a generational wealth mindset. Mm-hmm. And as we were doing that, I went back and I said, babe, we've talked about this before, but we need to help pastors transition because a lot of these pastors don't have 401ks. They don't have Roths because when you're a church planner, you're literally in survival mode trying to make sure church is okay. But then what happens when that season ends? Then you're screwed. Church people left, you're broke, your family has nothing. And so I said, what if we start something where we take them on a journey, 6 to 8 week program where we help them transition, or people that are thinking about transition, to plan for the future. And so
it's called Next Season. So our goal is to be able to walk you through this season as we prepare for your next. Good. So it's not just teaching you how to trade stocks. That's a part of it. But like I do life insurance, I want to make sure that we optimize your future and you have the right type of life insurance, that you are insured, that you have a key man policy with your church, that your children are insured, that we can start cash value systems to set your children up for wealth later on because they've been using it for years and we just don't know anything about it. Yep. We're talking about soul care. I'm big into fitness. I have my own fitness app. I teach people. I coach people in that. We talk about your health. We want to talk about, like, I have a plethora. We hosted marriage retreats for over a decade. We hosted conferences all over the world. It's almost nothing that we haven't done. Yeah. So we're taking all of our years and we're saying either you have us, we'll come sit with you at your table, or you fly to California and you come into our house and you sit with ours. This is a personal experience to walk a journey with you and to make sure that you and your family's okay. Because to be honest, nobody else is. Most of those churches and how they're set up with the trustees and everybody else, they're focused on the church. We're trying to get you to be focused on yourself and focus on your family. So we talk soul care, we talk those things 6 to 8 weeks. We walk with you. But you can go to it's www.ournextseason.com, OURnextseason.com.
When we kind of walked through it, though, when he stopped pastoring, it was just like your identity is tied so much to the stage and the people and helping people. And it's like all of that nonstop. And then all of a sudden it's silence. Yep. And so many people struggle with that transition. So many pastors are just left out. We know a pastor right now that is literally in the gutter. He's really struggling right now. And he feels so alone.
So alone, bro.
And it's frustrating because it's like you poured in to help all these people and everybody turned their back on you.
Sure will.
You know what I mean? And we want to be that we want to help them like walk through that journey afterward.
And we're also on social media. This is Cornelius.
I'm Heather L. Love.
Yeah. So you can follow
I'm going to put the links all in the description. I'm full
Don't come on my page with no mess. If you come on my page with mess,
you might get cussed out. So y'all be careful. Tread lightly. Y'all give it up for my homies, Cornelius and Heather Lindsey, y'all. Y'all give it up for them.
And I also say thank you for what you do.
Yes.
And thank you for the podcast. Thank you for being able. I was talking to my best friend, and I was like, yo, I'm going to do a podcast, and I couldn't think of the name of it. And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, oh my goodness. But it's like his testimony is a testament to what you've created because, him and his wife, they listen. And it can be lonely in that seat, bro. Because oftentimes you assume, because there's so much chatter about what you don't do right, you can be assuming that people don't take in what you really do, and you're changing lives, you're helping people. So big kudos to you, homie. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the invite.
And we're also praying for your future wifey.
Amen. Please,
you ain't married yet?
Please.
That God will send.
Oh, you did say you were celibate.
Dear Future Wifey. Yeah.
Also, what happened when you get married? You gonna change the name of it?
Nah, it'll stay the same. At first, I was talking to a network, and I was saying I was going to put another.
You better not
bachelor.
be Tubi. You better talking about Tubi, were you?
No,
I'm talking about Tubi.
I was talking to a major network. They reached out to me to say, hey, listen, want to do a podcast deal with you, and they were saying, what happens if you get married? I said, well, I'll knight another bachelor to take over. They was like, no, why don't you just bring your wife on and y'all just keep doing what y'all doing? And I was like, oh, that does make sense. And he said, because in that way, people can go all the way back to the first episode, see you single, seeing how you matured, seeing how you evolved. I love that. All the way through the manifestation of this beautiful wife that you have.
What kind of women you like? Maybe we know somebody.
You know, I'm a matchmaker.
I don't know all that. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
What kind of women you like?
I like a woman that is saved, sanctified.
Oh my God! Here we go. Here we go.
I have lots of friends like that. I have lots of friends like that. What's your type? What's your type for real?
I never share with the public what my type is. We'll talk.
Okay.
But
you don't share it? You don't share the public?
No, I don't share with them about like what it is because then they'll start showing up.
They start showing up.
One, and then two, a whole group will be feel rejected because
you probably got a ton of women out there right now who believe they heard from God.
Yep. That's my husband.
That is my husband.
That is my husband.
That is my husband.
Had to talk about me. It's me. He just need to wake up. Remember,
I had women that moved to Dallas that I've never said a word to that moved here because God told them, and they'll be DMing me. I have women that have joined my church with my Word of Truth church, saying that I'm their husband. They stopping my pastor at conferences. I mean, it's just a lot. It gets real crazy out here in the streets.
The layers of the Bible, they go after you. The layers, the Rachels, they be after you. They be like, I mean, nowadays they be trying to. If you got a pulse, they just.
All right.
Flip that thing up like sunshine.
All right, baby. All right, baby.
All right, I'm say thank to the Holy Ghost. Thank you. I'm gonna get
before Cornelius get in more trouble. Y'all give it up for the Lindseys.
Introduces.
Thank y'all so much. Stay tuned to the end for a letter to my future wifey.
And writing these love letters to you.
Ladarian, thrusted suddenly into Child Protective Services in 2015. My nephew, black, a boy. The likelihood of being adopted outside of kinship, slim to none. Armani, 16 years old, black, a boy, with 5 years in the foster care system before I even knew his name. The likelihood of ever being adopted, yep, you guessed it, slim to none. While Ladarian and Armani were trying to survive and barely thrive in an overpopulated and underfunded foster care system, I was living my own life, doing well professionally. Having been a single father with a daughter who at that point was doing well in college, it was my time to live my life, right? Wrong. I felt unsettled, tireless, agitated. There are just too many of our black children stuck in ambiguity and in the limbo of the foster care system. In 2017, I legally adopted my nephew, Ladarian. Fast forward to 2019, I had no ties to this other young king, but I felt God instructed me to adopt him also, and I obeyed. Starting over with parenting should have been enough, right? Working with various foster care and adoption agencies to help bring awareness to the countless young black kings in the foster care system should have decreased my agitation, right? Joining the board of directors of Advantage Adoption, an organization that helps find permanent adoptive homes for children in foster care, should have led to some type of resolve, right? No, not at all. None of it felt like I had done enough. I now realize that every one of those experiences was laying the fundamental foundation for my life's mission, Kingdom Royale. Kingdom Royale will be a luxury, state-of-the-art home for foster boys. Our first location will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We will utilize the whole person approach that instills identity, empowers them to advocate for themselves, and enlightens them regarding new perspectives and limitless options that they thought were impossible. Though the young kings will attend the local public schools that are in proximity to Kingdom Royale, our at-home curriculum will broaden their worldview through participating in the arts, attending various cultural events, learning about and engaging in multifaceted discussions about current events and even relevant historical context, introducing them to gardening and landscaping and even caring for our animals on our farm and on-site stables. We just launched our Startup Capital campaign with the goal of raising $2.8 million. Now, why $2.8 million? Well, in 2017, I created a web series in which I performed random acts of kindness for targeting the homeless community. One of the most notable successes was that one of the videos went viral, garnering 28 million views. However, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't raise a single dollar to help in implementing a more sustainable plan for the homeless community. So throughout the years, with much remorse, I reflected on not maximizing that moment. I knew if at that time, just 10% of the viewers donated $1, we would have raised at least $2.8 million that could have really established long-term support for the homeless community, or at least started a long-term initiative to do so. This is my do-over. This is our new beginning. Together, we can attack this at the root by specifically helping our homeless Black boys who are already disproportionately represented in the American foster care system. I'm Laterras R. Whitfield. I've been nominated for 3 regional Emmys documenting my work with the homeless as well as my personal adoption journey. Despite those accolades, the greatest award for me is truly providing the infrastructure for a transformed life. Visit kingdomroyale.com for more details. Crown a king and make a donation today.
This episode was extremely long, but extremely worth it. Gosh, it was so good. Well, here's my favorite part of the podcast where I speak to my future wifey. Now, I'm writing this on March the 28th. This is when I recorded the episode, even though this episode will air at a later date. Reason why this is significant because today is the day before my 47th birthday. And I told myself said, I said, we're going to be married by your next birthday. So this is my last birthday. I declare and decree as a single man. Dear future wifey, from the moment we meet, I want you to know there is no need for mask, no need to shrink, pretend, or perform. You are enough exactly as you are. The version of you that laughs loudly at the wrong moments, the one that gets lost in deep thought, the one that sometimes doubts herself. I want it all. Likewise, I refuse to present a polished, filtered version of myself. You deserve the real me, the man who strives to lead with love but sometimes struggles, the one who dreams big yet wrestles with insecurities, the one who will always choose you, even on the days when I don't quite feel like the best version of myself. Love shouldn't be a masquerade. I want our home to be a sanctuary where we can lay down our burdens, speak freely, and embrace one another, flaws and all. There is no love in pretending, but there is power in being fully seen and still fully chosen. So my love, let's make a vow before vows are ever spoken. No masks, no facades, just you and me growing, loving, and accepting one another unfiltered, unafraid, and unconditionally. Your future hubby.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving.
Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.